It is Friday. That's right, Friday. End of the week. How are you all doing? How was your week? You have a fun weekend planned? I hope you do. I hope you have something fantastic going on. I hope Darth Vader's wife is feeling better. I saw that he actually posted that she's got COVID. So I hope that she gets through that well. Robert Wiles actually went and super chatted yesterday just to let us all know. So that's great to know that it's not anything worse. I guess I don't want to dwell too deeply into that subject, but I think it's going to be good. So Vader, I hope you're well. Today I've got Jake Coco on the show. Jake, what's going on? I'm
What's
hearing
up?
kind of an echo. I
I hope it's
hear
not me,
some feedback.
me. No,
Hello. Yeah, I hear it. Hello. Do you not hear that?
I don't.
That's weird. Hold on, let me just mute you real quick. Hello. Hello. Yeah, it's coming from you somehow. I don't know
Strange.
why. But anyway,
Um,
welcome to the show.
well, yeah, I'm sorry that I'm bringing so much echo to your show. I don't hear it
It's
over here. I wish I could just be a
so
part of
funny.
it.
We've been chatting for the past 10 minutes, and I was like, "Oh, well, usually before we go live, this is what we try to figure out." And I'm like,
Yeah,
"I don't know why I didn't catch that."
it just
Um,
popped up. That's silly. I
yeah,
wonder
it's
if
odd.
can the audience hear it, or is it something just looped between us? Maybe.
Uh, we don't hear it on this end. The dude says they don't hear it. Okay.
Awesome.
Well, I hear it, but that's all right.
It's funny.
As long as
I
it's
was
just for
trying
me.
to do a StreamYard on where I used my phone as a camera, as like a extra camera, and
Okay.
I got all the way through my sound checks and everything was sweet. And then I went live, and then I had a similar issue where all of a sudden my phone, even if you mute it, it would still play like
Oh, the
3 seconds
audio.
later. It was so delayed. I'm trying to play
Oh.
songs, and then no.
Oh, that's annoying. Well, welcome, and it's nice to finally chat with you. We've been following each other for quite some time on Twitter. We've been interacted a bunch of random times throughout the, I don't know, 2 years, something like that. I'm
Yeah, I
not
think I
sure.
started following you. I think we kind of went through similar like political transitions, or not even political, but just mindset transitions around the same time. And so I was kind of watching you go through yours and you know, seeing some kind of parallel trajectories there in our thoughts, which was cool. It was cool to see
Yeah.
somebody else going through a similar thing. Were you remind me? Were you living in California? Is that where you grew up?
No, I was. Oh, are you interviewing me right now? Is that?
Yeah,
Did you
this is a
just?
flip. What
Did
I'm doing is it's called flipping the script. And so,
you? No, I'm from Chicago originally. I
okay,
was
cool.
born in the city downtown. I lived there till I was 3, and then I moved out. Where are you from?
I'm from Ohio, but I
Ohio.
lived in Los Angeles for like 17 years.
So Midwest
Um,
boys.
Midwest boys, and then now I live about 45 minutes outside of Nashville, up by the Kentucky border.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah,
Is that
I
like
love it
in
up
the
there.
Appalachians?
No, no, it's a town called
West.
Clarksville.
Okay.
Yeah, the Appalachians are beautiful. I used to one of my first bands actually. We would drive down through West Virginia all the time, and I just love driving through those mountains. It's so pretty.
Nice, nice. How long you been out there?
So we moved to we left Los Angeles like literally March 1st of 2020.
Oh, wow.
Not because we're prophets or anything. We just literally that was my wife and I felt kind of called to go somewhere a little more family friendly.
Wow.
Wanted
Nice
to
move.
think about yeah, we wanted to think about getting having a baby, and then literally left on like March 1st, like just as everything was shutting down, and like to the point of like our house almost they started like doing like COVID restrictions for real estate stuff, for open houses and stuff. And we were going through our escrow period right at that time. So it was like super stressful. Like, are we gonna get out of here? Whatever.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, moved to Nashville like March of 2020, and then stayed in Nashville for about a year. And then now we're up in a town called Clarksville.
Is
It's
it
45
small?
minutes. It's the fifth biggest city in Tennessee. It is not small. It's like population like 100,000. For me, it's strange. Like I come from a town called Mayfield, Ohio, which shout out Mayfield. Kind of smaller population, but then moved to Los Angeles. So my Overton window of like small versus big is like gigantic and small. So I think
Right.
Clarksville is kind of in the middle
Okay.
between those two, around 100,000 people. We have an Olive Garden and a Red Lobster. So I mean, we're kind of balling. It's pretty sweet.
2 restaurants.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? If not,
Texas
it's
Roadhouse.
kind of small.
I have like a selfish personal campaign where I'm trying to get, Chef Gruel on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah.
You follow him? Yeah.
I do.
I need him to open a restaurant here because I'm where my wife and I are just there's amazing farms out here. Like we're so blessed to like be able to get really good food and really good vegetables and produce and meats and stuff like that. So not complaining about that. But as far as restaurants go, we just need like one Chef Gruel spot out here, please. He posts those pictures of like the burgers and the pizza, and I'm just like, oh man, I miss my life.
He posts some delicious looking food.
Yeah,
So
it's unreal.
have you always been a musician throughout your life? You just always kinda jammed out?
Yeah, I started playing violin when I was like 2.5 or 3.
Wow,
This thing called the Suzuki method, which is like they teach you kind of music before they teach you to read.
interesting.
Um, it's like a pretty specific method based on ear training and stuff. So I played violin until I was like 7 or 8, and then kind of stopped that, and then started playing drums. And did that through high school, and then started playing guitar and piano and stuff around like 17 or 18, and started kind of writing songs. But I was kind of playing music in other bands, and then kind of just got uh, realized that maybe I was the only one that was gonna, I guess, do it as a career. That sounds douchey kind of to say, but you know what I'm saying? Like for me, it was something that I wanted to pursue past college and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I decided to kind of just go solo and started writing songs and singing my own stuff, and had all sorts of different ups and downs with that. But yeah, that's a long answer to your question. I've always been a musician, pretty
Were
much.
your parents musicians?
Negative. Not much music in the family. I have one uncle, I think that's a bass player, distant
Well,
uncle.
what caused them to put you in the Suzuki method? Is that what you called it?
Yeah. My mom was a single mom,
Okay.
and she, I think, was just looking for like daycare options, basically. Like different things. Like, what can you do with your kid?
Yeah.
She was working a bunch of jobs, 2 or 3 jobs all the time, and just wanted me to be, you know,
Too.
in something. And so there was like these group classes, 10 to 12 kids or whatever like that, and they just teach you kind of the basics of music, but all through listening and stuff like that. And the violins we used to play were just so tiny. It was like,
Yeah.
I still have it,
Two
it's
and
broken, but I try to like play it now, and like one finger covers like essentially like 3 notes of 3 semitones of frets. Like I can't even do it. It's silly.
That's awesome though. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. So I think it was just like a means to to get me out of the house, out of life, to do
Well, it
something
really
other than hang
set
with my
your
mom.
you think that you would have been a musician anyway, or do you think that really set your path in your life?
Man, that's an interesting question. I don't know. Probably. I mean, I do feel like very attached to music, even when I'm not like playing. I pay attention to like the rhythmic beating of the microwave beeps or whatever. Like whatever is musically happening near me, I'm always tuned into. But maybe
Yeah.
that's just a side effect of having done it for so long. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like the only thing I've ever really been felt called to do throughout my life. One place I really kind of feel like at home. And this could be because of that Suzuki method, but I've always felt more comfortable kind of playing music and speaking that way, as opposed to, talking with people. This interview aside, this is perfect. This is my ideal scenario. But
Yeah.
aside from, I've always been more comfortable kind of singing about how I feel or writing about how I feel as opposed to talking.
Well, I try to keep a nice, comfortable atmosphere on my
Yeah.
show. Where just,
It's
we're
funny.
just relaxed.
My streams are normally at night, so I have my room set up. It has like a certain hue to it. All my stuff is set up for nighttime streams, and then I went today. I started setting up. I was like, man, the sun is blasting. It's calmed down a little bit now, but it was just blasting in that window before. So
Yeah. Just throwing the light all off. No, the light looks good.
yeah, I think we came out okay. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. So you've got quite a following on YouTube. And how long have you been in the YouTube world?
Yeah, I've been. I think I joined YouTube in like 2006 or something, 2007, like a
Wow.
long time ago. Really early. One of the first kind of guys with the guitar on there. Didn't know what I was doing. One of the guys that I was with like an independent record label back then, and one of the guys that worked there, he just was like, "You should record some videos of you singing in your living room with your guitar." And I was like, back then I was like, I don't know what that means. It sounded so strange because YouTube didn't exist. I was like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
And then I did, and the videos back then, it was like such a different world. You could just post a video and it would get a bunch of views because that's just what YouTube was. Like the popular videos were on the homepage, and if you did something, different or decently, they would kind of promote it or whatever because it wasn't enough content.
Man, I miss the days of like pre-algorithm,
Yeah.
what if something's going viral, like everyone's gonna see it, like, and
Yeah.
it gets more viral. It's like that's
You
just
just
kind of
log
the
in and,
way it
like, on the
is.
homepage, it was like, "Oh, these are the 12 videos that people are watching." It was like, wow, like, you still had to try to find a way to be unique and be up there, but you could at least, it was
Anyone
attainable.
anyone had a chance.
Yeah, now it's
Yep.
silly, like, you can't even get your subscribers, to get your videos to your subscribers is a challenge half the time, so
Oh,
it's crazy.
trust me, I know all about that. It reminds me of this conversation that Elon Musk and Jack um, Dorsey were having via like a tweet conversation about the algorithms on Twitter, and he's like, Elon was saying, you know, the chronological order is the only way to go because like having an algorithm tell you what you should see is just terrible. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. I'm not doing it exactly as they said. And Jack was like, that's why we have both, because you could do either or. And I don't even know if I trust the either or because I've after Elon's purchase, or it hasn't been officially, it's not over yet. I don't know if it's official yet, but
Right.
when he announced it and then they were like, all right, we're considering it. All of a sudden the algorithms changed. Did you
Yeah.
notice a difference?
So, it's funny, I'm in a couple, like, group chats with some other people who were all saying, "Oh, like, my follower count's blowing up, like, this is going on." I think I might be the only person that didn't receive the benefits of it, so I don't know what that means, but I did notice a lot more of the people that I wanted to see in my feed.
Yeah.
But I didn't I had a bunch of friends that were like, "Dude, I got, like, 9,000 subscribers in an hour and a half after Elon bought," and I was like, "Man, I really missed that train." Like, I didn't tweet at the right time, but whatever, that's
Yeah.
cool. Um, but I'm stoked, like, I think that the chronological order, like, is definitely the only possible way to go about it. Anything else, like you said, like, you're getting a computer involved. Even if you think the computer's being good or the algorithm's being good, like, it's gonna have a flaw. It's just that's how it works. So
Yeah.
if I sign up to see 300 people, I wanna see in chronological order what they said. I mean, I guess you could put something in to, like, break it up. If somebody tweets 300 times in a row or something, you wanna maybe my feed doesn't need to have all POSO promo codes in a row. But, I mean, personally, I
Yeah.
I do enjoy that, so that's good.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, hey, if you're following him and he does post a lot.
Yeah.
I noticed because I do the chronological order. That's all I do. I focus on that. I don't
Yeah.
do the sometimes I might click on it and just peruse for a second, but then I always go back because I don't like an algorithm showing me what it wants me to see. And I I I noticed that I started to, just like you said, I've been seeing a lot of people that I hadn't seen in months. Sometimes some people for over a year, easy.
Wow.
One person that not JD Vance, the Bradford File. He's
Mhm.
one person that I follow. I think you might actually follow him. I'm not sure,
Yeah, I
um,
do.
but I hadn't seen anything from him, and he
Yeah, it
posts a
seemed like they
lot.
listed some of those, like, I hate the term shadow ban because it's such, like, a broad thing, but it's true, like, there's
It
there's
is true.
definitely, like, shadow banning that happens. I had it happen with my YouTube channel, years ago. I don't know what happened, but I made the same content consistently for a long time, and I
Mhm.
totally understand there's ebbs and flows, but all of a sudden, like, my channel went from, I mean, lots of view like, at least, 10 to 12,000 views when a video goes up, which I'm okay with getting 12,000 views and then a bunch of thumbs down and, like, my video tanking. I would take accountability, but
Yeah.
I would put up videos and they would get, like, 64 views, and I had, like, 350 or 360,000 subscribers at the time. It was like, "Huh." I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
that's
weird.
that's a pretty low number. Like,
At
I
least
think bad
watch
would
it and let
be,
me know that it's not good.
yeah, like, I don't mind if the market responds to my videos poorly, that's a different story, but, like, to just have them not be served, it was like, "Okay." But it was good for me because it, kind of allowed me a way to, pivot a little bit, and I started focusing more on live performances and helped me kind of, diversify myself a little bit as a musician. I was kind of focused only on YouTube for about 7 years, which I'm grateful for, and, got to make a ton of content with a ton of artists, and that's awesome. But as far as, like, just, mental health and stuff, like, just focusing on, as I was making, like, some weeks I would make, like, 10 to 15 full songs, so just
Wow.
a ton of
New?
content. Yeah, cover songs, but still, like,
Wow. Oh,
just the
okay.
amount of time that I was spending making videos and, like, in the
True.
YouTube algorithm was, like, takes over your brain, so it was nice to
Trust
kinda,
me, I
yeah.
know. I mean, I'm in a different not the same thing, but being in the YouTube world and understanding how the desire to put content out versus the desire to keep your sanity.
Yeah.
Especially when my content is essentially understanding the political realm, or not necessarily the political realm, but the cultural realm, like all these things that's going on in the mainstream news versus like the truth of it all. It really took a toll on me about a month ago. And I really started this shift of, and I kind of told you a little bit about this before the show started, how my show used to be based kind of on the Timcast show. The original name of my show was Adamcast,
Right.
IRL, and for reasons that shall remain unnamed, I had to change the name of the show. But I like the Crigler show anyway. But I'm really making it mine, and I'm moving away from politics. And I like culture, though. I like pop culture stuff, movies and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop paying attention to it. But I'm going to lean more into my music. I'm going to lean more into the things that I like.
That's
Um,
good.
and make it more my own. But I did want to ask you. It's funny you just brought it up as I was thinking. Like, I'm going to ask him this next. So you've been in the YouTube world for quite some time. But what else do you do? You diversified your musical talents. What does that mean? What are you doing with it?
Yeah. So for a while, I mean, my career as a musician, like it's such a, what's the word? Like, I guess just struggle. The struggle is real, but like getting to a point to like finally make a living as a musician. When I was like 25 or 26 years ago, like I finally hit a point, and that was YouTube, that helped me like to actually monetize my music. So when you've been trying to make a living doing something for so long, trying all these different things, and then one thing works, you're like, oh, let me just only do this one thing, because it's almost like a survival tactic. It's like, oh, this works. I have to do this all day, every single day, or else I will go back to being starving musician boy again.
Right.
Which is good. It's a hunger, and it helped me to accomplish a lot of stuff, and get a bunch of records done. But when I say diversification, it was, for me, I was just literally, I would wake up and I would go to the studio and I would record. I had at one point I had, I think, 15 artists that I was working with, and I was kind of doing all the content for all of their YouTube channels.
Wow.
On the behind the scenes side, I would do the videos, do the music, help them pick the song, like, just everything, literally from beginning to end on these cover songs. And then I'd actually go and release them too. So I was doing a lot of the marketing side too. So it was, point being, it was just all YouTube all day, every day for like 5 or 6 years, maybe 7 years. So then to diversify, I kind of took a step back from YouTube as my views were kind of dwindling a little bit, and just started playing live. And I dove into that, which I love, and was nice because I had just kind of forgotten about that side of the world. I'm sure from YouTube, like, you just, even if you get 1 billion views, like, it's still just a number on a screen, and it's like, it's nice to go see a person like in real life. So
True.
started just playing gigs again, and then I was doing, like, for about 5 years, I did like 150 to 200 gigs a year. So just like
Nice.
a lot of shows, which was super fun. Put together like a honky tonk band. If you're familiar with like how Nashville works, there's like, the Broadway bands, just like 3 to 4 hours of fun cover songs and drinking music. And did that for a long time. And then, so my wife and I decided to move to Nashville. I was going to play a bunch live here also. And then we literally got here and everything shut down, and she was pregnant. So kind of just pivoted a ton there again. And then decided to kind of take a step back and just see what, fatherhood is. It's such a new feeling and a new thing. I needed to kind of see what that would be for me. So I took some time off and just focused on being there for her while she was pregnant. And then got my real estate license during the downtime from COVID.
Hmm.
Started doing some different types of music where I would do like instrumental stuff. I've been doing some kids music lately. I've been doing like cinematic scores for like videos that I make. I've been working on like some new like vertical cinematography stuff where I just kind of almost vlog our life, but in vertical mode. All sorts of different stuff. Basically anything musical that I can do that wasn't YouTube is what I've been trying
Yeah.
to do. But yeah, and then I have my own studio here, so I still kind of, I release and write my own music and stuff like that. But as far as like working all day, every day for other people and making their music, I kind of just put a pause on that, and might go back to doing it sometime and produce some more records. But it just burned out after 7 years of just constant, especially the YouTube space. I'm sure like the same in politics and culture. Like, you have to stay on top of the most relevant new stuff. So in music, it's like, oh, Taylor Swift has a new song. So I would have literally like 15 artists, and like they would all hit me up and be like, we have to cover this song. And I'm like, okay, man, I have to do like 15 versions of this new Taylor Swift song in the next
So
like
you
week.
would like design a song to for the artist for them to like the style of the song, like you'd produce it for them?
Yeah, so my productions are mostly you can kind of hear the similarities between them all, like acoustic, acoustic and piano versions, usually like kind of softer wedding style versions of popular songs.
Okay.
But yeah, I would go and I didn't want to use the same. You can't use karaoke tracks or anything like that, so I would just go in the studio and make a brand new track for each artist. So if 3 or 4 artists wanted to do the same song, I would maybe do like a country version, a slow version, a rock version, which as a producer is great because I could go in and like really take the same song and dissect it 5 different ways, and like you can really just kind of explore your production chops and get better at that, which I thought was really cool. But it's just it gets old after Taylor Swift puts out so many songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's so interesting too because I was gonna ask you about fatherhood. Just like before, you kinda, like, said a little bit. I really wanna ask about that because I'm not a father yet, but I am looking forward to it. I have a house, and my wife and I are, planning on it, and, I
Awesome.
don't know, it's in the future, soon, we're
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a father. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's awesome.
What changed the most in your life?
Man, so much. I mean, so much. Where would I even
Yeah.
start? Schedule wise, like just at like on a basic level, like I used to, my normal like circadian rhythm, if you will, is like I go to bed at like 5 in the morning usually, and would wake up,
Okay.
noon. Still like not a ton of sleep, but like just my natural when I want to go to bed, 5 or 6 in the morning is just natural for me. So now we go to bed at like 10 o'clock and wake up at 6, and there's that aspect of it because Paisley has no idea
Yeah.
what time is, and she wakes up at 6 and she's like, Dad, 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 Dad. There's no reasoning with a 15-month-old or 16-month-old.
Yeah.
So that changed. My desire, like my long-term goals, which for me as like a musician, like I said, came from kind of like a scarcity mindset of, or the survival mindset of like, how can I make money as a musician? Oh, cool. Up to like, oh, cool. I have a comfortable living, kind of doing this stuff. Now I'm like, oh, I need $80 billion and all the ponies, and I need everything. Like, this might be specific to having a girl. I'm not sure. We just have the one so far, but like every single thing that she would ever want. Like I just have this new, like almost I'm not very materialistic, but I now have this thing inside me like I must have all of the things for her. She must have it. Never worry for anything, which I know is a ridiculous way to parent and it's not a great idea, but that desire still kind of shows up in you, which is cool.
Yeah.
And then on the content side, like my wife and I, we started doing. My wife does like TikTok as kind of her main social media of choice or whatever, if you will, like your drug of choice. So she's
Oh
all
gosh.
up on the mom TikTok, and so we do like family content now, which started off as just like her kind of doing TikToks like everybody does, but then it's kind of grown into a creative agency now where she's got a bunch of clients and she does
Oh,
like kids activity videos and mom tips and just like momfluencer type stuff. And she has like a mom blog, and she's like full on mom. It's awesome. You can check her out.
cool.
mommyourownway.com is her blog. And it's like just mom stuff. She loves the mom content. So I've kind of helped her make some of that with my knowledge of how to like film, and then that's now kind of turned into like I'm singing Wheels on the Bus, which I never thought I'd be doing kids songs, but I'm like, cool, well I have to sing Wheels on the Bus 15 times a day anyway for my daughter because that's just what she wants to do. Might as well throw it up on Spotify and do a kids album or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a long-winded answer of what diversification as a musician has looked like for me since
Well,
fatherhood.
yeah, you kind of blended the answers, which makes sense though, because you're a father now and that is your life. So and you're a musician, so it's fitting that you would make kids songs. And honestly, I'm grateful for it because we need more
That's the
uh
part that actually kind of put me over
real
the edge on it.
content.
I was like, oh, the world doesn't need another Wheels on the Bus. I was like, man. And then as a father, I listened to Wheels on the Bus 7,000 times by 7,000 different artists or whatever. And I was like, man, I guess I should do my own spin. It's almost like out of respect to other parents, like, please give us another Wheels on the Bus to listen to. We've heard this one we need another Baby Shark, please.
Add a little twist here and there,
Yeah.
maybe bring in a new instrument, something they haven't heard.
Silly.
That's cool. So what are you working on now? What's your current Wheels on the Bus? Is
Wheels on the
2
Bus, I just
2
finished, yeah.
2.0? Oh, you just finished it.
So
Good.
it's funny, I did a recording and, I just sat down to do it or whatever, and I got, pulled up the lyrics, and I never really analyzed the song before, but there's no B section, it's just the wheels on the bus, and then it changes, a bunch of times, and so I was like, "Man, I gotta write a bridge." So I wrote a bridge, which I don't know how the
Cool.
copyright works on Wheels of the Bus, but, my version has a bridge now. So
Nice.
so that's what I'm working on, and then, I started a vlog, which we called it Raising Paisley, which is our daughter's name. So I'm working on that and trying to figure out how to best film it and how to just kind of what we want it to be. We just started releasing them like less than a month ago. So it's kind of been evolving. It started off as like 1 minute videos every day, kind of just daily recaps with music behind it, and then kind of did some longer format stuff, and then some actual full vlogs that are vertical, and then some that are horizontal. I'm just trying to like, you know, piece together what the best way is to capture some of our family life while not I don't want to hire another person to like film us because I don't like we want to maintain our privacy and like obviously
Right.
just be a family. And I also don't want to just be constantly like filming as dad. So I'm trying to like just see what that looks like, what the best way is to create a little content while also being a good father and a present husband. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, of course. Being present is even just for yourself is really important, and I don't think a lot of people even have that down. So being
It's
able
hard,
to
especially, I mean, as a content creator, like, it's just like, it's how we make our living. And so for me, like with Paisley, like there's two layers to it. Like one layer is like, oh, I don't want to be taking up time filming because that's ridiculous. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, I do want to teach her how to do this because it's a great skill set to have. And like, we've been super blessed to be able to, work from home and make our living doing what we love to do. And like, just being the fact that we can make little videos of our family doing stuff and, make a living off of it to me is the biggest blessing. Like we don't have to go and do other stuff, which, I've done it in done pretty much every job there is, done a bunch of other jobs and stuff like that. And I'm not against it, but like the fact that I can teach my daughter how to make a living from her phone, I think is something that I shouldn't just throw out just because I don't want to be the dad on the phone, as if that makes sense.
It's interesting. I talk about how the world is still learning how the internet is affecting us. I mean, I think I'll be honest, it feels a little young to be on a phone anyway.
Mhm.
Two, not even two, right? What,
Yeah.
six,
Oh,
six,
no, we
six?
don't so we don't let her actually use a phone
Okay,
ever. We
good.
actually like, and
Okay,
I have such a strange opinion about this, and it's super, it's like hypocritical and conflicts with itself like 15 different ways. So don't worry, I'm fully aware of that. But like, I don't want
okay.
her to ever use a phone other than to I want her to use it as a creation device. So I don't think we'll give her one. I don't want to
Hmm.
give her one ever, like for communication reasons, because I'm like just dad with a daughter. So I don't want her talking to anybody ever. But I don't want her to be like left behind technologically because like it is a realistic thing that she's going to have to use. So why wouldn't I want her to be great at it? Because it is such a tool. Like any job you're going to go out for by the time
Jake,
you're, and
Jake,
this isn't applicable to a
she's
2-year-old.
not even two.
I'm thinking down the road, like
Okay,
7, like because there's the debate
seven.
is like these the debates
I
like
mean,
there's dads that give their kids phones at like 4. Like
I know they're all completely wrong. I
yeah,
think that's absolutely because you're saying you're talking about creating content, but it's like,
yeah,
what are you going to create if you don't have like creating itself is an art. Being
yeah,
able to create, yes, I understand that, but the 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 thing that they're showing, if you don't have that, that's why I have this issue with all these people, these kids that are like, I want to be, oh, you're a YouTuber. Like all my nieces and nephews are so hyped about like me being a
hmm,
YouTuber, and I'm like, well, first off, I didn't set out to be a YouTuber. All right. I had no idea. I was a musician. I was a professional skateboarder for a while. I did some modeling and I kind of fell into the YouTube world, but I have a really broad worldview because I've traveled around a lot. I've done a lot in my life. So like I have a lot to offer. If you don't have anything to offer, if you're not creating something outside of the content creation or like filming yourself, like what are you gonna
yeah.
talk about? What are you gonna say? What are you gonna so I
No,
think
I agree.
yeah, so I'm hearing that, I'm like,
Yeah,
y
I see the debate and like there's like I said, I see some parents that are like, I gave my kid a phone at 5 and she's fine. I'm like, okay.
You
and then
think
other
she's fine.
yeah,
Right.
and I'm not trying to be judgmental. Like that's one of the biggest things in like the whole
I'll
parenting
be
world
I'll
is
be
like,
judgmental.
yeah, yeah. Again, I'm totally hypocritical about this because I don't ever want her to have a phone for any reason other than being able to, like, if she wanted to create something like a finger painting app or something like that. But as far as like her being an actual creator, I was talking more about. So my wife does like kids activity videos, right? So we'll do a video of Paisley like playing with beans or like some kind of sensory activity. So like that part for me and for my wife like was a challenge because we're like, okay, do we want her to never be on camera ever? Like, do we want that to be? Because I know some parents that are like, oh, I don't want my baby's face on anything ever, right? Like that's an opinion. I totally respect it, and I think that's a very valid route that I'm
Yeah.
not necessarily against. We just talked and kind of went the other route where it's like, okay, it's like the world's not going to get less technological, so I'd kind of like for her to have ownership of her digital self, if that makes sense. Like, because as we kind of grow on the internet, and like you said, like it's still so new, but like you need to have awareness of the internet and also like ownership of your own brand, if that makes sense. I guess like your your personality on the internet, you should be like, for instance, her name is Paisley Darling. So I would like for her to own PaisleyDarling.com, right? Like if I don't do that for her now, it's not going to happen. Like somebody else will eventually be named that, right? Like there's certain just things that I think you kind of have to make a choice. And I
Hmm.
respect both choices. It's either you kind of, for me, the choice is either you dive in and like teach them how to understand technology in a way that is good. Again, not giving her access to anything like that.
Can I ask
I'm
how
not
old you are? Okay.
me. I'm 38.
38. Okay. So we're the
Yeah,
same age.
nice,
I'm also 38, 84.
nice. Yeah,
Um, and I'm pretty good with the internet. I feel like I'm pretty savvy on the internet.
yeah.
When did the internet come around? When we were teenagers? You
Man, it's
know?
so tricky. I think I was like 16, 17. Yeah,
Exactly, teenager.
yeah,
You're online. You're making constant content online.
yeah.
Um, it's did anyone teach you from being a kid?
Well, so I don't mean like the actual actually being able to use technology. I don't think there's a learning curve there, but I
Mhm.
do think that like as you grow your own personal existence on the internet, which is not something that everybody wants to do. Like and I'm aware of that.
Okay.
But if you choose you want to, time is an exponential kind of growth multiplier.
Right.
So, you start on Twitter, it takes you a year to get 10,000 followers, whatever, 1,000 followers, and then the next year you have 10,000, the next year you have 100,000, right? So I don't want to do her a disservice by not kind of like securing her digital existence. Does that make sense? Like, not I don't want to push her into doing anything that she doesn't want to do, but I also want to have those like digital assets for her if she does choose that she wants to do something. Like if she wants to be a musician or something, or wants to be a whatever she wants to do, be a zoologist that has a TikTok channel. I want her to have all those things accessible and not have them bought up by somebody else. Because the reality is like my stuff's going to be on the internet either way. So people are going to know her name. They're going to know. It's like I can't hide her.
Hmm.
So if I don't do it, trolls are going to buy her name. They're going to buy this. They're going to do this. So there's no reality that exists where she's like, unless we go Amish, right? Where she's just off the internet. So I'd rather at least own those digital assets and like have her have some understanding of like, oh yeah, we use our phones, we use them to do our job, and like we work as a family, and we kind of have this and we make sure to kind of like do our videos like, oh, we're cooking, we're gardening, we're outside, we're doing playing and stuff like that. And we don't like, you know, try to like push her to do filming or like that, but we do make content with her. We love it. Like I think teaching her that, your technology can be something that supplements your family to spend more time together is a good thing, as opposed to using technology as something to distract you from your family.
That's a
Which
that's really important. I've talked a few times to a couple different people this week about how technology and the industrial revolution has kind of made life too easy for human
Mhm.
beings, to the point where all we care about is being by ourselves and being selfish. We don't care about the future generations. We don't care about community. And you know, I see that you're aware of that, and that's kind of what you're instilling. So I have to ask. So, have you made a Paisley Darling Twitter, TikTok, YouTube?
So we
You
got
know,
a we made an Instagram again just as like essentially a placeholder and stuff to share family photos and stuff like that. I won't put the name out there, but if she wants to, down the road have one of those, like we have it and it exists, we
Huh.
just kind of use it as a scrapbook, and I don't like tag her in my videos anymore or anything like that most of the time. We have a website because so she does. One of my wife's first videos that went viral was like they did some finger painting together.
Okay.
So I took the finger painting and kind of took a digital image of it, touched it up, uploaded it as a pattern, and then put that on some merch from like different shipping companies that I work with, and like Printful and stuff like that, and just made some designs out of her, or sorry, made some items out of her design. So I made a little website with that, and kind of had fun with that, but haven't actually, like, I don't want to like make a personality for her or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to like make a Twitter and be like, Paisley says this. Like, I think that's probably not ideal. I just want to
Well, no,
own, like,
not to use it. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying to, like you said, with the website, like
oh yeah,
paisley.com or
yeah. I
whatever.
like anytime I'm kind of addicted to buying websites in general. I think it's like, it's like digital real estate. It's like if they pop in my head, like let's just buy it, because especially because they're like $11 most of the time. So yeah, I got as many websites for her as I could. Darling is my middle name, is her main kind of hub right now, but it just is a redirect to my wife's website. It's not like she doesn't have like a blog or anything going on yet. But if she wants to start writing, I want to have the place for her to have it. You know what I'm saying?
When she's like 20, you mean?
Yeah. Which at 20, I'm still not giving her a phone. Again, don't forget, I'm a complete hypocrite about this as a father of a girl. I'm not letting her talk to anybody ever, but I do want her to know how to make money making content if she wants to.
Not with OnlyFans though.
Appropriate content. Yeah. After I said that, I was like, not like that.
I was like, let's.
But I think that so you have neural kind of connections that happen, and so I think by linking content creation to a wholesome family time and us having picnics in the backyard, and again, we don't like to work with anybody outside of the three of us. So we'll go out and just like set up a picnic and have a lunch, and we'll film. Like if we have an hour-long picnic, we'll film for a minute and a half. Like we're not doing, huge epic shoots or anything like that. Yeah, exactly. Right. We spend most of the time doing the actual fun stuff with it. We go to the zoo, we film for 5 minutes. But I think that linking that in her brain, making videos is a fun family thing. Like that'll probably keep her hopefully away from the digital pole, if you will.
Don't tell them how much money they make.
I saw someone the other day say, I was on the Joe Rogan show. They said, I think it was Black China. She makes like made 44 million in a month or something. I had no idea it was even.
It's bonkers, man.
I had no idea.
And honestly, good for her. Sorry, I feel bad for her dad, and I want to shame all the people giving her money.
See, now she didn't create content with her family when she was a kid, so
good point.
It's
interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like you said though. To go back to your point, the internet's so young. I don't think anybody knows the right answer yet, and I've gone through so many different things because there's a piece of me that's like, I think what's that Unabomber book that he read? I forget. But he, the point being like technology is the downfall of mankind. I totally see that trajectory as possible. And so I'm not ruling it out. Like technology could be awful for us and our demise. But at the same time, it's also just a reality. Like we have it here. So don't I want to be really good at it or good with it? And shouldn't I wish that upon the people that I love also? I think so. But again, I don't know what the right answer is. And I don't think we'll know for another 100 or 200 years. I mean, we'll look back at this era, the dawn of the internet, and be like, oh man, look how wrong they all did it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like the metaverse and stuff though? Like, do you want to participate? Do you want to be in there? Like,
have you seen Ready Player One?
No, I haven't, and I need to. I have the gist of it though.
Have you seen WALL-E?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, one leads to the other, right? They're very similar. Only WALL-E is everyone's fat and Earth is screwed up, and you can't. They could basically go back at the end of the movie. Ready Player One, there's still a reality. I don't know. How do I feel about it? I think it's inevitable. I think if we're going to be multiplanetary, being able to communicate in certain ways, granted, connections can't go faster than the speed of sound, or excuse me, speed of light. And even if you're on Mars, it's not like we can have direct connection, like playing multiplayer games or being online. I could be anywhere on the globe and we can still communicate.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Be live like this. This is really cool. So I think it's it's a natural progression of the internet. Have you ever done VR? Have you done anything in VR before?
Yeah, I've had a couple experiences. I've done like some of the like the sandbox spot. I had a PS4 VR for a little bit. Yeah, so
Okay.
I've done some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that PS4 VR, I have that, and my
Okay.
buddy and I, he has the same setup, and we used to hang out all the time. He used to skate a lot. He was one of my skating buddies in New York. Really good friend of mine, and he's also one of my gaming buddies. And I hadn't seen him in, I don't know, a year, and he was like, "Hey, I finally got that PSVR," and I was like, "Dope! Like me too. Like, what game should we get?" And we got this game where all of a sudden we're standing next to each other in game. I'm like looking at his character and he's got two blasters and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're blasting into the air and I could see him and he's like, we're right here next to each other. And it felt like it though. It
Yeah.
really did have a feeling of I'm finally hanging out with my buddy again. So there is, it's like tricking the brain into
Hmm.
thinking that I'm actually hanging out with my buddy who he's, maybe 1,000 miles away, but to my brain, he's right next to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I see it being a complete positive thing, but we have to worry about that threshold, that balance, that line where you go too far past, then suddenly people are just like, I'm gonna marry this digital AI that I
Yeah.
that I met and
It turns so fast, man. It happens so
get a
fast.
catheter and get a feeding tube, and then
Yeah.
I don't need to leave ever. And
And
then
then we're
you
in
know
the
what? Just
matrix.
plug me into
Yeah.
the matrix.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
I don't want
it's
that. That scares me.
I heard a Zuckerberg interview, and I rarely hear things that he said. Like he rarely says things that I feel good about or like happy repeating. Right? Like I'm usually on a different planet or page than that guy. But he said something that I thought was interesting, where he said, I think he was talking to Lex Friedman, but he asked him, do you see the metaverse being a problem where people are going to get too addicted and spend so much time in there and blah blah? And he's like, well, the goal, like one of the purposes or one of the positives that I see is actually you'll spend more time in reality, because if you actually use the metaverse to supplement your reality. So like an example would be like for me to go see my grandma right now,
Mhm.
I would need to spend a bunch of time traveling to see her, which obviously like being with my grandma in reality is wonderful. Let's use a different example. Let's use a meeting. So say I had to go to a meeting, I would actually have to travel there, even if it's an hour away in my car. There's time spent traveling there. So if I could just zip there real quick in the metaverse and do my meeting and then zip back, I actually have those extra hours of travel time that I can spend in reality. So 2 hours not wasted traveling
Mhm.
saves me, but then I do have to do 1 hour in the metaverse, and I can see how that that trade off. It's like a devil's trade off because it's like, oh yeah, it's saving me time, but then
Yeah,
okay, well now you're
that's
doing 5,000 meetings a day.
that's the most optimistic
Yeah,
viewpoint,
it's the only thing I've heard somebody say where I was like, oh, maybe that's kind of decent. Okay, but
Yeah, but then you think about like 8% of the Japanese, maybe 10% now, who knows, of the Japanese population are shut-ins. They
wow,
don't want to go out. They have their own name, like Hikori or something like that. I'm probably butchering the way you say it, but
sure, but they just
that's
live inside of.
yeah. They don't go out.
Wow,
They don't need anything. That people are marrying sex dolls now. What's
I've seen
next?
that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's uh, people are getting so fed up with reality because snowplow parenting, a welfare system. I mean, there's just so much about being the government giving and saying you don't, don't be accountable for your actions. Come here and like
yeah,
now combine this all. People are going to be like, I give up.
yeah.
Make it easy for me, Papa
Yeah, well, it's
Government.
like in real life, it's like, oh, you're poor in the real life, but if you come into the metaverse, you've got 61 trillion Doge coins, and you can spend them and you can have as many hot dogs as you want. Come to the carnival. Like, yeah, I get
Mm-hmm.
it. I think that's probably a lot of nefarious folks' long term goal. It's hard to I like to remain open minded about whether or not the awful people are running the world or whether there's some good people up there. Who knows? And I will probably die and never know like what
What
the
do you
true
know? What do
intentions
you
of.
think? What do you think though about that?
Um, like I said, I go back and forth. I like to kind of think about it in both ways. I Based on the fact that humans in general are flawed, typically, I would imagine that the world is run by nefarious forces.
Yeah.
Based on the stuff that I've seen from being in Hollywood for so long, and how deep the sadness rabbit hole gets out there, and there's some really messed up stuff happening in the world. So it's probably dark forces running things, but at the same time, I'm not gonna deny that there's beauty in the world and there's enough light that that's also possible. I don't want to be somebody who commits fully to like believing in just badness, right? Because that's just a depressing way to live. So I'm going to remain optimistic, but it's probably bad, folks.
I'll be honest, I'm teetering right on that cliff. I'm
Yeah.
like looking over the edge, like, man, the world is really run by a bunch of
Yeah.
elite asshole
That's why I
pedophiles.
love Elijah Schaffer, because I think he's the first person that kind of showed me the clown pill, or talked about the clown pill. And that's the way I think to stay sane. And when this stuff is so ridiculous, like I used to be, when I first kind of started speaking out about politics a couple years ago, I was like super passionate about like changing everyone's mind, to the point where I'd argue with bots, and like I had no idea how Twitter worked, and I was like, whatever, going down that rabbit hole. But at a certain point, I took the clown pill, if you will, and like it's these issues are serious and they shouldn't be laughed at. But at a certain point, you're like, man, like most people just don't really care about what's really going on in the world, and I guess that's okay. It's
Yeah.
not okay, but no matter how much I stand here and yell, I'm just going to look crazier if I keep yelling. Like I just have to find other like-minded people that understand, like, oh yeah, we're looking at off the cliff, and like, yeah, it's really messed up down there. Let's just laugh up here and sip on some Crigler coffee.
Heyo. There we go. I like where your head. Are you drinking Crigler coffee right now? Is that?
No, but you're an honest man, so
That would have been. Thank you.
I was trying to throw up the but no, I don't want to lie to you. But I'm going to order some after this, and then I will be on my next time on the show.
Shame.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
I thought about ordering some yesterday, but then I wouldn't have got here in time, so I figured I'd wait till after the show.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you.
What made you choose to get into coffee?
I love coffee. As I mentioned earlier, I traveled a lot throughout my adult life. I'm constantly all over the place. You go into a store, you go to a place, and there's shit coffee. I actually don't talk about this, but I actually managed a coffee shop for a while.
Nice.
And I was a barista at the coffee shop in New York City.
Is it just called the coffee shop?
Yeah, the coffee shop. It's kind of a famous, or it was. I don't even know if it's still open, but it was at Union Square West, and it was a poppin' spot. It was kind of expensive, but they had like a booth that was just coffee, so you can walk in the door and go right to the booth and not even have to go to the bar and go anywhere else. You could just go to the barista, and I was the barista there. So I worked with coffee a lot throughout my life. So I love coffee, and I was fed up with shit coffee.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of people reaching out to me to try to work with me after Tim fired me from the Timcast show, and I was just kind of like, I think I'm going to do my own thing. But a roaster hit me up and was like, we roast coffee here, and
Wow.
if you're ever interested in doing like a coffee company. I was like, hell yeah, like that's dope. So they roast the coffee beans for me, and
That's awesome.
I slang that coffee. I'm a drug dealer now.
They call me Bean Lord. What's going on?
I'm the Bean Lord. That's
the
right.
Bean Lord.
But it's the freshest coffee. It really, I'm so spoiled by coffee. Whenever I run out, it's so sad when I have to drink like store-bought coffee. It's like, oh, because it's just not the same anymore. I've gotten so used to, I have a roasted on date. I don't have a Best By date. And
wow.
that's something you don't see on coffee bags. Most of the time, it's like Best By this date. Like, I don't know. Well, when was it roasted? Well,
so
who
where
knows?
Where are your beans roasted at? Are they
Utah?
roasted?
I think it's Utah. No, Idaho. It's in Idaho. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Deep in the heart of America. I know it's not Texas. People want to say Texas there, but Texas isn't necessarily the heart. I say anywhere, basically flyover states. When they say flyover states, it's so rude. You're from a flyover state.
I am. Yeah, it's such it's funny. When I first moved to California, I just you kind of take on the language of whoever you're talking to, wherever you're at. At least I do. Like, and then getting there, like everybody just talks about the Midwest like it's like just one small flyover thing. And like I accepted that as a reality for a while. And then now that I'm older, I'm like, Ohio is awesome. Like where I'm from is awesome. The people there are awesome. Like it's not just it's nothing like Iowa or Indiana, or like all these states are very different. If you've been to them and traveled, like, like these are all awesome and unique places. It's so silly that the coastal elite, like just reference the whole of America, essentially all of America, except for two cities. They're like, oh yeah, that's just one flyover.
New York and LA.
Like,
yeah.
What?
Everyone in New York says the same thing.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. How long did you live in New York for a while?
12 years, most of
Okay.
my adult life. Yeah, I lived
Yeah.
in New York longer than anywhere else I lived on this planet, and but never once in the same spot for more than 3 years.
Yeah,
So
that's how it goes. That's how it was for
my
me in
my
California
my
too.
entire life actually, and
Wow.
from when I was born. Hopefully that'll change. I own this house.
Nice.
It feels
Congrats.
good. It
It's
feels good.
awesome.
It's a different feeling. I love my property. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But oh man, what was I about to ask you? Um, so are you gonna play us a your version of Wheels on the Bus?
Do you want to hear it? I can show you the new bridge. It's probably on my
I
computer
just
somewhere.
to be honest, I only want to hear the bridge. I don't necessarily want to hear the whole song.
Let me see what my
Um,
my setup is over here.
okay,
I think I can get it for you. Get
can
it
you?
for us. I think
Because
so.
you can click share and share a file, um,
Share it in the I see. Okay.
and then I can bring it into whatever it is.
Share
And
video
if
file. Well, so it's an audio. I don't have a video of it.
that's okay. Share open a program that's gonna play it, and then share the
Oh, share
click
screen
share.
on it? I see. Okay. Got you. Let me see here.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Finder,
And then you
let me
can click
locate it.
window or
Audio,
program.
Wheels on the Bus. Okay, let's see how it opens.
I want to hear how this bridge goes. Everyone knows the song.
Can you hear it right now?
I can only I think I hear it a tiny little bit, but
Coming
it's
through
only
my probably my
that's like
headphones.
because I can hear my own voice, and I think that's the same reason why I think I can hear it. I don't think
So
anyone
now
else can.
share screen and window, iTunes, share.
There it is. Okay. Did you add when you hit share? Did you say share music or share sound as well?
No, I don't. It
Okay.
didn't give me an option. Let me see though.
All right, here, do it
Remove from
again.
stream.
Okay, wait.
Let's see here. There we go.
You gotta undo that. Yeah,
Stop
now
screen,
redo
okay.
it. When you click share and then click share screen, down at the bottom it says share system audio. You have to click that.
For some reason, I don't have that button. I just have all my different windows that I can share.
Mm.
I don't have a share system audio button.
Oh well, that's a shame.
It is a shame.
That's all right.
I think I can. Do you use like any routing software inside your computer for? Because like
No.
I run through Pro Tools, and then out into like a program called Audio Hijack. But I think I can.
So you're not actually even worrying about using the StreamYard software.
No, I run out.
Nice.
So there's a program called Loopback that I use. It's free, actually. It's super cool. You should check it out. You can. It's essentially just a mixer for all the things that are happening in your computer. So I have like Pro Tools output running in, and then if I want, sometimes I do. I have like a looping setup, so I can do. I'll run all my stuff in my studio into Pro Tools, and then out of Pro Tools into my looper, and then out of the looper back into Logic, and then Logic will run out into StreamYard. And it's like you can just do kind of a ton of internal routing stuff with Loopback, which is sweet.
That's cool.
But I think
yeah.
I can hit this button and hit iTunes, which is open, and add a source. iTunes, boom.
Will it work?
Okay, I think this might work.
Well, see, we weren't raised. Oh, I hear that.
Nice.
Doors on the bus go open and shut, open and shut, open and shut. The doors on the bus go open and shut, all through the town.
All right, let's get to the bridge.
Yeah.
The
Drop that
wipers
bridge.
on the bus, the horn on the bus beep, 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 beep. The horn
It's after
on
this.
the bus goes beep, 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 all through the town. Wheels on the bus go round and round. People on that bus go up and down. Mommies on the bus say, I love you.
Oh,
Way
yeah.
better.
You know,
It needed it.
it needs a little breather in the middle.
Dude,
It's like
it needed
19
it, man.
verses in a row. I mean, come on.
It's at 19 in a row.
There's so many. I did 9 in my version, and and there was more. Like I picked 9 of them. I picked the 9 verses that my daughter liked the most.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
insane.
That's way better. It needed that break.
Just a nice little breath, right? I'm just here to
Yeah.
make the world a little better, one wheels on the bus at a time. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help out these children's musicians a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think that the children's world needs to be fought back for, because it's being taken away. It's being taken over
Yeah.
by this SJW indoctrination, LGBTQ2
It's
plus
insane. Like the fact that it's
whatever.
even, like it's gone to this, like, again, the Overton window has shifted to such a place where it's like, wait, what are the two options? Like neither of those should be the option. Like
Right.
I'm happy to see like other I know the Daily Wire just announced they're doing some stuff with kids content, and
Yep.
it's cool to see like more conservative outlets, taking family content seriously. That's one of our main focuses on why we started. My wife in Hollywood was an actress also, and
Okay.
we just want, like, we spent a long time building our careers and like building the skill set that we have, in the entertainment industry, and like we want to keep using those skills, but we were like, let's take a step back and stop auditioning for other people's movies and stuff, because literally everyone, I mean, I'm sure it's the same in New York, like every single person who is in a decision-making place in Hollywood hates us, like,
Yeah.
not like on a personal level, but like they hate everything that I think. And like, and I'm
Yeah.
not even like a very radical person. I don't think, like, I'm pretty centrist on most stuff. I think, I kind of share a lot of that. But I'm hardly a radical, and to know that, like, just because I think the things that I think, that I can't participate in, like, essentially the majority of the music industry or the acting industry, my wife can't participate in film and TV and stuff like that. It's like, at first it was like, okay, well, I guess we just won't make content. But then after a while you're like, well, why don't we just make content with our values? And like, it doesn't, I'm not trying to like make like, necessarily like completely political or conservative content, like focus on that. But like, we are, like I said, we hang out as a family all day. We film ourselves as a family. So we're just naturally promoting family life, and the fact that it's awesome. Like, especially like you said, you're thinking about becoming a father down the road. Like, I know for me, before Lily got pregnant, like I wish I would have had a window into that world that wasn't like whatever crap is on TV. Because like the image that's portrayed of what family life is like, in like sitcoms and stuff like that, and it's so not real. Like, that's not what life
True.
really is like. And there's no conservative window into that world, at least not that I know of. At least there wasn't.
PragerU's also doing kids content as well.
Oh, that's nice.
Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, so long story short, I have 3 sisters. They're half sisters. I didn't know about them until I was 28.
Oh wow, okay.
We all met later in life, but I do have 3 half sisters. That I hate saying the word half because they're my full sisters. But
I get it. Yeah, I've half siblings, but yeah,
nice.
they're my brothers and sisters.
You get it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, I definitely understand. So you didn't know you had siblings until you were 28.
No, yeah. I had and I had a little bit of a knowledge that I had potentially one sister. And then I think I was 27, 28, but yeah, I I forget exactly what brought me down the world of looking for them, or how I found them specifically. It was like, because we all have different, 2 of them were in foster care. And then we all have different last names, all 4 of us. So finding each other wasn't easy.
Okay.
But yeah, I've now we're like super close. We text all the time, and I love them, and I'm super, super grateful that our relationship is good. I think a lot of brothers and sisters that kind of grow up together have different dynamics, because you have so much animosity that just from normal stuff that happens as you grow up. Like, you could not get along. But we met, like I said, I was 28. My older sister was 30. My younger sister was like 22 and 25 or something when we met. So we were already adults, and we were like, wow, it's so cool to meet each other. Like, we're just stoked, and we've just been like the best of friends ever since we met. So it's a unique relationship, but it's super cool.
Yeah, the reason I ask is I have my 2 sisters. I have 3 sisters, but 2 of my sisters alone together have 8 kids now.
Wow.
Lots of nieces and nephews. I have an insanely large family with over 50 cousins on my father's side alone. I'm not joking.
Yeah, that's amazing.
My
Italian or
No, no, my grandmother on my father's side has 100 human beings
what?
underneath her.
What? That's
What
crazy.
100 over
Wow.
I think over 100 actually.
That's amazing.
Just the Crigler spawn on that my dad's side is insane.
Wow.
But I grew up around a lot of children. You know, there was always kids around. There was always babies that needed to be held or changed or whatever. And then of course my sisters had my nieces and nephews. So I've always been around kids. So I kind of, I kind of get that. I knew that the sitcom family life, like Full House, like
Yeah, it's
that's
like the
not
bumbling dad, like,
reality.
"Oh, my wife doesn't have sex with me. Oh, life is," but like that's it's the same joke on like 500 shows, and like,
Right.
and like it's not even a good joke. But then once you become like you realize like, oh, this isn't even really what it's like. It's not even an accurate joke. At least like if it was a real joke, like if that's really what fatherhood was like. But it's not. Like every dad is painted as like this weird bumbling idiot who like whatever can't like accomplish one task, like taking out the trash, and then the women are like always kind of like
The
just
smart
angry in the
ones.
show. Yeah, like smart, but also like just depressed because their husband isn't great. It's just this sad portrayal of family life. There's very few shows that like show a happy, good, like just And
Well,
I
that doesn't sell. It
yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
sell.
It's funny again being hypocritical. Like I love those shows. Like I love the show Shameless. Back when I used to watch more TV, like there's some great show, and those shows also should be made. I'm not like against the non-nuclear family, like that's make all the shows. It's silly because we've gone so far now that every single show has to be completely absurdly woke and diverse and dynamic, and it's like not every show is like that's just not reality. It becomes we end up lacking diversity because we force diversity. It's silly.
That's y wonderfully said. Yeah,
it's
it's true.
it's
Well,
strange to see though,
diversity
like
is go ahead. What were you gonna say?
no, go ahead.
Well, no, I was forced diversity, it's like forcing segregation. It's like it's maintaining uh, that the idea that we're not the same or I
Yeah,
don't what am I
it
trying to say? It's like, we're supposed to judge people based on things that they can't change, and that's why we got in trouble in the first place.
it's funny. This was probably 10 years ago or something. I went out for a commercial with three of my friends. So the casting call was for like real life friends at a table. I won't say the restaurant, but it's a big restaurant chain, national restaurant chain. And they wanted to cast four friends who were friends in real life. And it was gonna, you're just sitting at the table eating, whatever. That's gonna be the commercial.
Dope.
So that's like an ideal casting situation, right? You get to go with your friends on audition. So I went with three of my friends and we booked it, which was awesome. And then my one friend has darker skin. He's like half Mexican. And they ended up booting him from our group and not putting him in the commercial because they were shooting a separate commercial a segregated commercial of an all Mexican family or all Mexican friends. So they wanted, essentially, they didn't hire him so that they could segregate this table of what was already a naturally diverse group. Like we are a diverse group, but they literally fired my brown friend because they wanted to segregate people.
Wow.
And they put another person in, which it was the silliest thing to, and I've been in Hollywood long enough to like know, I understand like how they got there. And I know they weren't trying to be, segregationist or whatever, but like when you see the result, you're like, do you guys not realize that you just fired the one piece of diversity in our group?
Right.
And to make it more, that's the silliest thing. But it's infiltrated so many aspects of culture now where like everything is so woke that it's ridiculous. And like, you can't even, the society can't even function anymore. It's crazy.
Are you planning on homeschooling?
Yes.
Smart.
Yeah. My wife, God bless her, like she's taken on the role of mother, like full head on, like gave up everything else. And like, that's her full-time job.
Well, it's almost like women are built for that job.
It's crazy. Like it's almost like one of the craziest things, and you see it, I'm sure, being around as many kids as you are with your big family, but like, I'll have Paisley downstairs and like Paisley will alert me that she's hungry, and like my wife will like feel something in her stomach, like she's like, oh, I think Paisley's hungry. I'm like, there's like a Wi-Fi connection between the two of them, and I don't have access to it, and that's okay, that's awesome, that's how God made me, or I'm not jealous about it, but to see people like denying that women are different is like, man, you're just it's so ridiculous.
I saw something in my buddy's Discord this morning that made me chuckle. I'm just gonna show you because it's kind of sidebar. It's not exactly the same, but I kept laughing when I saw it. I was like, they stole the BLT, guys.
That's awesome.
Now it's got guacamole, so it's not technically a BLT,
Yeah.
but I mean, it would be a BLTG, bacon, lettuce, tomato, and guacamole. But they've changed it. They stole this. And then,
I think that's awesome. Like that to me, like if we're gonna like that's what I think we should do, is like make jokes together, and like that's what true equality is. Like everybody kind of joking with each other and like having a good time and treating each other as equals. That to me makes complete sense.
You're not allowed to make fun of those people, though. Look at Dave Chappelle.
It's so crazy.
They ridicule him like because they call him a turf, but he's like, I make fun of everybody, or at least that's what I see. It's like he makes fun of everybody. If you exist, he's gonna make fun of you, and if you can't handle it, he's gonna make fun of you more. If
he's not making fun of you, that's actually not equality. Like that's him treating you different, and like that's to me makes sense. Like to sane people, that makes sense. But it's so interesting that it's like people actually don't understand that. Like I have some friends that I have friends of all sorts of different types. One of my good friends is a trans person, and we laugh all the time about how ridiculous stuff is because he doesn't care. Like he laughs at how ridiculous the woke people are also. Like most people do. Like it's just this small but vocal group of insane people that are just like making all these memes and making all the tweets and like protesting and pretending that that they're really outraged, and it's just fake. It's all fake outrage. Like no one's really that mad. You're mad at your dad. It's like one of my first tweets that I did that was like that went viral was like, you don't hate Trump, you hate your dad. Like, which I was just kind of joking, but like it's true. Like people take out all this animosity they have towards whoever else. Now, if it might be your dad, it might be somebody else, but like there's anger in people, and they take it out through these outlets of like, oh well, the LGBT tomato sandwich didn't have the proper thing, and like the actual flag on that sandwich wasn't the right flag. So really, the sandwich was trying to be nice, but it's bad. It's an evil sandwich. And it's like, dude, we don't have to talk about the sandwich. Like, come on, it's just jokes.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I don't even think it's about purpose. I think people have issues with like father issues and stuff, but having such a lack of purpose, like, well, when you make society make everything so easy for everybody, all food is basically taken care of. We don't have to worry about food. I mean, you have to worry about buying the food, but you don't have to actually grow it yourself anymore. That's it's taken as the farmers take care of that, or the whatever the system that's set up. Same with pretty much everything, right? I mean, primarily everything's taken care of that we used to be able to have to just do ourselves. So when we get it, we have to maintain that balance. We can't go past it and become soft. We have to still I don't know. We've
become detached from everything. Like I was actually talking to a buddy a couple days ago about this, but like, so we're so detached from food. Like we don't even know.
Oh yeah.
What we're like most of the time, even if you try, like you can't figure out what exactly you're eating, unless you go to the farm yourself. But we've become detached from money. So like now we started talking about this because I had somebody accepted I had a plumber come over, and he wanted cash, and I didn't have any cash. And so I paid him. I had a couple silver coins. I said, I got like $45 in silver. Can I just give you some silver? And he was like, yeah.
Hold on to a silver coin right now.
Nice. Yeah. And like that tangible feeling of the weight of money, like for me to take something that weighs something and to have less of something, I felt it. Like it's not like the $45 was a huge deal, but like to actually feel lighter after you know what I mean? Like it lightened my pockets. Like that's a real feeling that now it's like, oh, cool, you'll PayPal me and I'll Zelle you. And like all these numbers just happen and everything's direct deposit, and the government just takes all the money out of your account with their tax. Like, no, we're so detached from how much we worked, how much we earned, how much we should have earned, how much we paid for this and that, and where our money goes. Like, it's just the next step, I think, is going to be, like you said, complete detachment, a catheter, and just, or maybe the pedal bike or whatever from Black Mirror, where you just sit there, it's like, I can see that. I we had a Peloton last summer, and I love it. It's awesome. But at the same time, like sometimes when I'm on it, I'm like, I'm in Black Mirror. This is just Black Mirror. I'm just doing it. I'm looking at the screen and I'm pedaling.
Charging the generator.
Yeah, like where's this energy going? Yeah, I mean, I can see us getting there not too long. It's scary.
Yeah, it is kind of scary. I had David actually asked a super chat. He said, when writing lyrics, do you write the melody first or the words? I want to get better at writing lyrics, but I feel it's a skill you either have or not. Agree? I have my own version because I'm also a singer-songwriter that I've been, doing, but I want to hear your answers first.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a cliche answer, but I don't think there's like a right or a wrong way to write a song. I mean, I've had, from experience, I've had so many different types of songs that I've written. For example, like some songs have taken like 10 years to write, where I'll write one piece of it and then that piece will stick with me for a long time and then I'll eventually finish it. Sometimes I'll just write a melody by itself and then later I'll do the words. Sometimes I'll do just the words and like, oh, this is kind of a cool idea. And then I'll turn it into a song. It's sometimes very, very few times, but with a couple tunes, I've literally like heard them in my head first as a completed thing. And then I just like can't get the pen out fast enough to write that down. Or I'm like, man, I got to actually get this out of my head first. And that's the dream world when that happens. Like that's awesome. But that's rare. Like I think I've written probably like 100 and something songs and it's happened like 3 times or something like that. But it does happen. But all that to say, like, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. If you want to write something, go for it, put it out and get some feedback. Like I've found that if you can create something that you like, someone else will also like it. Like I might not like what you create or whatever your type of music is, but I'm pretty sure if you like it genuinely, then someone else will, because there's so many people in the world. You just got to find your tribe and find your people that dig your vibes or dig your music or whatever.
Yeah, I think I would basically agree completely. There really is no right way, but what I've found works best for me is I scat. And I kind of, which is not saying anything, like Sugar Ross, or as one band that comes to mind that doesn't have any words. I mean, they do have some words in some of their songs, but a lot of their songs have no words. It's just gibberish, but it's musical. It's beautiful. So, but sometimes I'll write words, but for most of my songs, I do the melody first by like scatting and kind of freestyling a song, and then I'll like say a line. And I'll be like, "What did I just say?" Like, oh. That was good. And then I like write that down, and then I kind of like think about what I just said when it came up naturally. Sometimes I don't even know what a song's going to be about when I create it. It's just based on like music and melody. That's
I
really
like to, like, some of them I
it.
go back and look at, and like, I mean, I've got some songs now that are hitting like 20 years old or so. And like, I look back at some of those and like, I don't know, you can look at it through different lenses. Like, I don't know if I'm just now like mature enough to understand what I was writing about then, but like if I was just writing nonsense then and now I'm trying to make sense out of it, you know what I mean? Like some of my songs, I'm like, man, that's really deep. It's about this. And I'm like, wait a minute. I remember being 17 and writing that. It wasn't about that. Like, I wasn't a deep thinker at 17 really, like it, but I can look back at some of my songs and kind of see maybe what they're about. But again, like, who knows if I'm just playing tricks on myself and like trying to be more prolific, sound prolific, even though I'm not, who knows?
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the fact that it just dawned on me, like the first song that I ever wrote, it was about preparing for 420.
Nice.
And it was like this, like I sang it a cappella like a month and a half ago. I'm not going to do it right now, but it's
that's awesome. Funny. I was in a band called the High Five, which was like a triple entendre, which we thought was super clever, but we didn't have any 420 songs. But I mean, I guess they were kind of all 420 songs at that point, but
missed opportunity, I guess. That's okay. You live and learn, you get as you get older.
It's strange though, being in Nashville and seeing like songwriting here is such a different thing. Have you been to Nashville much? Or
I've drove through once. I unfortunately didn't hang out.
Well, there's like songwriting here is like a 9-to-5 job. Like literally, like, I mean, for a lot of people, like you go on Music Row, there's publishing houses, and publishing houses have staff writers, and they go from house to house and they just write songs. You have like a 9 a.m. session and a 1 p.m. session. So each session has like 2 days, and like you're with these people this day, and like you just go, and it's a numbers game, and you write a ton of songs. And it's so different to me than like LA, which everything I ever did out there was like, I don't know, we'll get together at like 10 p.m. and like maybe we'll get some beers and like maybe we'll write a song or maybe we'll go see a movie. Like, that was like completely
Not professional.
unstructured. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then here it's like, but at the same time, like some great stuff comes out of that. Great stuff comes out of both. I don't think one is right or wrong necessarily, but it's just so
Agreed.
interesting to see the different where it's like, oh, cool. Like people are like, oh, I have a 9 a.m. writing session with this person. I'm like, what are you doing? You have a meeting? Like that's a what? That's
9
not
a.m.
9 a.m. You're getting together with other people with guitar. It sounds so crazy to me, but they get so much
Right.
done, and you see
True.
kind of why this is the songwriting capital because they're doing numbers, like so many tunes.
It's really the style of artist, my wife is an incredible musician as well. She's got she actually did one of her first albums in her late teens, and it's when she first showed it to me, I was like, this is incredible. Like, you wrote
Nice.
all the music, like all the different instruments, like she wrote it all, and I'm like, damn. I mean, she hired professional musicians to play the certain parts, like the accordion, that some crazy accordion music.
Nice.
But it fit the music really well. So I was really impressed. But we've, tried to come together and like make music together, but we do it so differently. She would like it in Nashville.
Yeah.
I would be more in like the LA, like, I'm just gonna like free flow, free stream of consciousness music,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
whatever comes. And like for someone who's very intellectual and needs kind of like a structured dynamic of like, well, what is the subject? What are we writing a song about? What are we
Yeah.
trying to achieve? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
At the
I'm
end
trying
of
to
the
achieve
song.
playing guitar. I don't. What do you mean achieve?
Right.
Yeah.
But like, I like to think that I get to a good song at the end of when I finish writing a song, which just it's so drastic, like how two different artists who paint completely different
Yeah.
styles trying to paint the same painting together as
Yeah.
one.
It's interesting.
Sometimes it works.
It's cool that there's so many different roads to success in that world. I mean, that's just like any art. It's
Yeah.
always cool to see, and that's one of my favorite parts about talking to other artists is like learning what they do and how they do things. I like I've listened to some Rogan lately, and like one of the things that he's always asking different comics is like what their writing process is, and it's interesting to hear how different that is. Like, because some people just sit down, and I imagine it's super weird with comedy specific because you need to know if somebody laughed. So like, how could you even? At
That's a
least if
good
I write a
point.
song, like I can think it's good or listen to it or whatever. But
Well, if you
Totally.
like the song, someone else will. If it makes
Yeah.
you laugh,
I guess
it'll
if it
probably
makes you
make
laugh,
other
yeah.
people laugh. Right. If you think it's funny.
It seems so strange to me, like sitting down, like trying to write fun, to be serious about being funny. But I guess that's it's a job to them, just like songwriting is a job to me.
I don't think it's just a job for those types of people. Like I've hung out with some comedians. I've been on stream with some comedians. They are naturally funny though. There's a wit that
Yeah.
a lot of comedians have that, and they think a little differently. They're constantly outside of the box, looking from a different perspective on things. I think that's inherent. So when someone like that goes to write, it's I don't know. It doesn't feel like, for me personally, I'd be like, I understand what you're saying. That sounds complicated. That sounds difficult. Writing
Yeah.
a 20-minute comedy routine
Yeah, it's so
for
foreign
an
to me. I'm like,
hour. I don't know. And then
Yeah.
sometimes they go for 45 minutes. Like, that's making people laugh for 45 minutes straight, like while you're
Yeah.
standing on stage. Like, nah, I'm good.
Well,
I'll
plus you
play
don't have like the music
some
to like for music. If it starts getting weird, if I'm playing a show and like I don't know if I feel uncomfortable, if I feel nerves, whatever, I can just kind of like riff on a chord for a minute and like breathe.
Yeah.
As a comedian, like what do you got to do? You got to do like a joke, even when it's
Right.
it seems so stressful to me. And I've been on stage most of my life, so like I don't have really like nerves in that world. But when I
Mhm.
think about what it must be like to bomb as a comedian, that to me seems like the most terrifying
True.
thing. I've bombed as a musician plenty of times, and like
Me too.
it was fine. But like
Yeah.
doing comedy, trying to get a laugh and not getting one in person is one of the worst feelings. So I can't imagine like that being your job and then failing at it.
Well, I don't regret in my life, but if I were, there's this event that I was supposed to play live in New York. I used to play a lot of shows in New York. I played CBGB's a bunch of times.
Nice.
Joe's Pub. I don't know if you've heard of that one. It's in
Mhm.
the New York Public Library. It's kind of like their professional venue. I was pretty hyped to get that. I
Nice.
was pretty lucky.
That's cool.
But there was this time I was supposed to play this show, and I'd never been to this place before. And I show up, and it's like a freaking club. It's not. I mean, I don't know if you
Like
know my music style, but yeah,
dance
I'm a
club?
sing. Yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
dance club with a stage in the back. but
Yeah.
it was small because it was on the upper west no, Upper East Side, and it was like there was a little DJ booth, and then there was like a little tiny stage, and I'm like, "These people don't wanna hear my music, like, I'm gonna kill the vibe." Like, everyone's dancing, everyone's like, there's like club music playing, and I'm like, "You want me to play for an" was supposed to play for an hour, and I'm like,
Oof. Yeah.
"You want me to sit here and play for an hour when I'm like, I'm playing this," and I was younger, I was in my early 20s, so I had a lot of angsty music that I was
Mhm.
like, I like my I can't even play my old stuff, like,
Yeah.
I have a lot of songs you guys never heard before because I can't play it, I'm not mentally there anymore. I'd have
It's
to
hard, yeah.
redo it all, and it's just I was like, "I'm not gonna play it," and the DJ was like, "Oh, he's not gonna play it. Ladies and gentlemen, the musician isn't gonna play the set," and I'm like, "Damn," and I
Oh,
just, like,
man.
head down in shame and just, like, walked out of the place so quickly, and I was like, "You know what? I should've just played that. I should've just played that night anyway."
There's so many of
Fuck
those,
that DJ.
like, gigs where they have, like, I don't know if it's, like, a promoter that just has, like, a coked out idea of what the night should be, but they're like, "Alright, we're gonna have a DJ, they're gonna play from 8 to 11, then 11 to 11:15, we're gonna have an acoustic act, and then we're gonna have
Yeah,
a
like, what?
comedian," and it's like, "What planet?" Like, if you have a DJ, just have a DJ. That's it. If you
Right,
have an acoustic guy, do a wine night. Like, there's all of these
right,
things are viable evenings. Please don't put them all together. Oh
right.
my lord. Like, I've done so many. I mean, it's just part of being in that world. Like, you end up doing just the most ridiculous, gigs. I did a SeaWorld gig for like 2 years. That was a great gig.
SeaWorld.
Not 2 years straight, but they would hire us for these summer concert series that they did. And it was like, 11 in the afternoon on Saturdays. We would go to SeaWorld and play for like an hour or like 30 minutes. And then you'd take like 2 hours off and then 30 minutes, like do 4 or 5 sets, 30 minutes throughout the day. And we'd
Okay.
play at like the place where the parents
Did you just
could
say
get their
11 in
beer.
the afternoon?
Yeah.
You
And
wake
like,
up so early now that 11 is your afternoon. That's
oh
cute.
yeah.
I
I
caught
mean,
that.
this was during those wake up at 2 p.m. times. So getting up at 11, like being on stage at 11, oh, that was
Yeah.
rough.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah,
But it
different
was at
stage of your
the
life,
like the
right?
beer garden at least. So it was like the parents who are they've already been at SeaWorld for like 4 hours. So they're like ready
Right.
for their
Chill.
midday beer break. And we're just over there
Yep.
playing
Right.
wagon wheel on like the
Yeah.
SeaWorld stage while the dolphin costume guy dances and stuff. Like, but that
You had
wasn't
a
as bad as the
dolphin
club scene.
dancer?
Oh
Nice.
yeah, there was some like, I mean, those were honestly some really really fun gigs. At first it was like, oh man, we're doing this weird SeaWorld gig, but after a while, like the parents were so appreciative, kind of like the wheels on the bus thing. Like they're just appreciative of the fact that like, oh wow, you're doing this so I can like have my kid chill for a second. Please just buy me 5 minutes, thank you.
Yeah, that's funny. What was your favorite gig that you've ever played live?
Oh man, I've done.
You gotta pick one. You gotta pick one. Just
I
setting
think
the rules.
I did a VidCon gig. You know VidCon?
Mm-mm.
It's like the YouTube conference, big like yearly thing they do. It's in Anaheim, California. Like, huge, like 30 or 40,000 people come to it. They're not all in the same place at the same time, but I did in one day like 2 different stages at that, and one we had like 4,000 people, and one was like 12,000, and they
Cool.
were all YouTube specific. Like they paid to be at a YouTube thing, so they knew our tunes and stuff. It was a cool vibe. Like to be. I've
That's
played
dope.
some big shows, but usually it's not to people that know who you are or whatever. I did a gig also once, not favorite gig, but just to go off your club story. It was at I think UCSD. They had this thing called the Sun God Festival,
Okay.
and super stoked to get booked. It was like a cool lineup, like a bunch of cool like big acts, and thinking we're gonna be like on this big stage. And so what it was there's 2 big stages on like either end of like a not a football field, but like a big quad area or whatever. So those like the main stages, and then in the middle there was an acoustic tent. And so we were booked in the acoustic tent, and we had to play acoustic music in this tent between Diplo and Lil Jon, who are going on at the same time on different stages. I mean, they overlap by like 5 minutes, but like that was the kick drum was just insane and out of time with each other. And I'm like sitting here trying to play like, heartfelt emo music, like sad singer songwriter stuff, and just
Who was actually listening to you though? I'm just
like
curious. Was there
4 or 5
4?
people. No, nobody. I mean, we were stoked because we got to go. I was with my buddy Corey. We got to go like see Dip. Like for us, like being there and actually participating in the festival and like just being able to like be in the audience was sweet. We were just trying to get through our set, but a couple times we were able to sync up with like his kick drum. At least he'd be like doing something steady, and we're like, oh, we know a song at this tempo, like we could do something. But for the most part, it was just this chaotic nightmare of like drowning reverb vocals and out of tune or out of time kick drums, and then like us trying to play cover songs. It's like rough.
Oh man, yeah, that is rough. One of my favorites sets that I ever did was it was the only time I ever got hired. So I was a model for a long time, right? And I had two jobs that hired me not as a model. One was Chanel for being a skateboarder, but one
Okay.
was MAC Cosmetics. They hired me as a musician to go to they had their like corporate retreat in Pittsburgh where
Okay.
like all like the MAC Cosmetics corporate heads and people who sold the products or at least ran the departments that sell the MAC Cosmetics were meeting to like talk about the new line, and they had me do a couple covers while singing and walking around playing it with a microphone, like one of those like
The headset.
headsets. So
Oh yeah.
I was wearing this like I don't know colorful flower shirt that was basically the same image as like the new line. So I was like matching the
Yeah.
screen, and I'm like walking around, and they wanted me to play 3 songs. It was Let It Be by the Beatles,
Mhm.
obviously. Mrs. Jones, You Have a Lovely Daughter.
Wow. Okay.
You know that song?
No.
It's so old. I don't remember who plays that song. No, it's gonna bug me if I
It
don't.
sounds like a Simon and Garfunkel tune, but I don't think it
No,
is.
it's not. Mrs. Jones, You Have a Lovely Daughter. I don't even know if that's the name of the song. Herman's Hermits.
Oh,
is
they
the-
did. What was
That's
that?
it. That's the name of them. I actually have this vinyl
Amazing.
with that song on it. Yeah, and I didn't
What-
even know that I had it.
What was their bigger song? Their biggest song? Let me look it up real quick. I think like Louie Louie or something. They wrote one of those random tunes that was like
I don't know. Here, let me just maybe
Herman's
like
Hermits. Let's pull it up.
Herman's Hermits. See what song pops up. The first one.
Man, there's so much.
Jezebel? Is that it?
No,
I don't know. I can't
that's
think
not
of
one that I
anything.
know. Man, their Wikipedia is way longer than I thought it was going to be. I was just hoping it would have like 5 or 6 songs, but they did the music for Rocky and Bullwinkle. Good job, guys.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh wow, you're right. That is a long Wikipedia. All right, well, good for
Right. There
them.
must be some stuff on Leaning on a Lamppost. Oh, You Really Got Me. You really got me now.
Oh yes, that's the
Replace
one.
Kinks. Oh no, that's the Kinks. Sorry. Mrs. Brown, You Got a Lovely Daughter. Oh, I'm Henry VIII. I Am. That's what it was.
I don't know that song.
I'm Henry VIII. I am. It's like it
Nope.
was awful. I just sang it in
I
my
got nothing.
high school marching band a bunch, so I still remember it.
Jake, I have a tradition on my show.
Okay.
And sometimes I forget. Actually, I don't do this every day, but I'm gonna do it
Okay.
right now. I have a
Okay.
20-sided die that one of my viewers actually sent to me.
Okay.
This is not actually the die. I have it in a box over there. These are metal die that Tim actually bought.
This is a decoy die. Okay.
This is I like it because it's really heavy. It's got some weight to it. But I'm gonna roll it, and this is a chance for you to win absolutely nothing. So
17.
good luck. Okay, it's not Devil Dog Cog coming in hot with a 4. It is in fact 4. That was the third guess.
Devil Dog.
Devil
I got
Dog
8.
Cog.
Darth Jason also picked 17 though, so at least I feel good about that.
There you go. You guys,
Yeah.
The
We're synced
Wi-Fi
up there.
maybe, worked for you guys there. Anyway, I do normally I play some music. I just want to let everyone know I'm not feeling very well. I still have a pretty bad headache. I haven't been able to shake it, unfortunately. I'm not going to be playing any music tonight. And we are kind of usually I try to do an hour and a half. I don't know if you're busy or if you're able to hang out longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if you wanted to play a song, you play one of your original.
You buttering me up right now? Is that what's going on? Am I getting buttered up?
I would like to hear. I've actually heard your music before. I like it. I've tuned into some of your live music. So you used to do them more. I don't know if you haven't really been doing it as much as
I took the last
to.
couple of weeks off. Long story short, my daughter just kind of changed her sleep schedule, and it was like I was missing bedtime, which that's like the most fun. It's like right before she goes to bed, she goes bananas and like runs around the house, and she's just silly, gets all of her energy out. So I was missing that. So I wanted to kind of reboot. But I'm definitely going to be streaming still. I stream on my YouTube channel. I don't really have a set schedule at the moment, but I was doing 3 nights a week for a while. But I'll be back probably in the next week or two. With some nightly streams.
What would you say is your most, I don't want to say popular song. What is your current favorite song to play?
Okay. It's by
Don't you play Wheels on the Bus?
The wheels on the bus go.
That's playing Wheels on the Bus.
Let's see if I can switch.
I'm gonna give you the full camera.
Oh man, okay.
For this, because I want to let everyone get the glory.
Let me tune up real quick.
Call yourself a professional.
Should have been in tune. That's one of the craziest things. Can you hear me okay with this mic like this?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, moving to Tennessee and like seeing how humid it is and how much of an impact that has on my acoustic guitars is something that I didn't realize was going to be such an issue. But they don't stay in tune anywhere near as long out here as they did in California.
I don't know if you have enough guitars over there.
This song is called Some Kind of Way, and little brief story on it. My wife and I, we eloped. So we put this on for a second. We knew each other for a couple of years, but then we never really, we weren't like friends or anything. We just kind of knew of each other. She actually, funny, she knew my music before she knew me, and she has like a video with like her high school boyfriend to one of my songs, which I think is pretty funny.
Nice.
But yeah, the first night that we actually hung out and kind of became a couple, I wrote this song, and we met and we eloped like less than 2 months later. Kind of just ran away and got married. Didn't tell anybody. But this song is about, I wrote it the morning after our first encounter together. She got a hummingbird that she wears in her locket, a couple old flames she keeps in her pocket, yeah. She never let you naked, dog, turn you to a criminal. Got a Dillinger heart, but damn, she rocks it, yeah. Well, she can make you lay in the streets on a Tuesday, make a little bit of magic out of anything you'd say, yeah. Well, she could take a winter moon and turn it to a breath of June, just humming on a country tune. She knows just what she's doing, yeah. And every time I see you sipping on a dirty martini, baby, I get a feeling in my soul like you're gonna be the one who saves me. Well, every heart wants what it wants, and that's okay, yeah. Well, I don't know much, but I know that you got me feeling some kind of way, yeah. Oh, some kind of way. Got the eyes like sunrise bursting through the shadow, just a little bit of danger caught up in her halo. Let's go. Starlight till the break of dawn. We gonna smoke 2 J's with our onesies on. That body can't do no wrong, darling. Show me what you're doing, yeah. Cause every time I see you sipping on a dirty martini, baby, I get a feeling in my soul like you're gonna be the one who saves me. Well, every heart wants what it wants, and that's okay, yeah. Well, I don't know much, but I know that you got me feeling some kind of way, yeah. Oh, some kind of way. We're just wrapped up in a moment. I'm a sailor, you're the ocean. I'm a genie, you're the wishes. Catch me up inside your kisses, please, yeah.
'Cause every time I see you sipping on your dirty martini, baby, I get a feeling in my soul like you're gonna be the one who saves me. And every heart wants what it wants, and that's okay. Well, I don't know much, but I know that you got me feeling some kind of way. Oh, some kind of way. Feeling some kind of way. Na 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 na, yeah. Oh, some kind of way. All right. Oh, thanks, man.
Very nice.
It's the first time I've ever got somebody to clap digitally. This is my first time playing with another person on a stream. It's neat.
How does it feel?
Good. I think it's good. It felt good.
Yeah, it sounded great. I'm so jealous of that reverb. I want that situation here.
So what you don't see is I've got a 35-foot hall right there. And I'm just kidding.
It's just echoing back.
I went to what is it? Motown. The Motown studio up in Detroit. I forget the name of it. It's man, I'm blanking on his name right now. Not Clive Davis, the guy who started Motown Records, whose name escapes me. But they have a one studio where they recorded like all the Temptations tunes, all those tunes from back then, and they have a reverb chamber in the ceiling.
Cool.
So you would just stand underneath that, and then you sing, and it's the most glorious thing I'd ever heard, because it's like a square cut out of the ceiling, and it shoots down the reverb like over you, basically.
Wow.
So cool sounding.
So you're bathing in the reverb.
Yeah, and like
Dope.
It brought out like a new layer of emotion inside, because like, I mean, when you play at a great venue with great sound, like, you know, that kind of lights a fire for one thing, but like having it actually bathe you in vibrations, because it's, I mean, shooting those sound waves, it was pretty cool to hear. I wish I could have like actually done a show there, but
Yeah, that's cool. Do you want to play another one?
Sure. Yeah. I'm down.
Yeah. Oh, you don't have to.
I could do one more. I got a song I wrote
Yep.
about my daughter.
Yeah, play that. I want to hear that one. That sounds good.
Cool. This is my first time doing a Nashville co-write, which kind of like I mentioned before is like strange, because you kind of just go into a room with somebody you don't really know, and you write like it's an appointment. Like I'd never done it before. For me, like writing's always been super personal, but I decided to kind of dive in when I got to Nashville and just go for it. And we came up with, I think it's my favorite tune that I've ever written. I mean, I'm a little biased because it's about my daughter, like I said.
It's about your daughter. Yeah.
Her name is Paisley Darling, and that's the name of the song. But it's funny, I've been playing it on piano mostly lately, but let's see how it goes on guitar again.
Little buzzed on a Tuesday night. I wasn't looking, but you caught my eye. The other side of the room's got a hell of a view. A couple sips got my courage up. I got Brad on the speaker, so I think I'm in luck. I'm gonna take my shot, I wanna take it with you. Yeah. So do you like Paisley, darling? 'Cause I don't quite know how to dance, and I could see me falling if I'm reaching for your hand. And all I've ever wanted was a heart that understands that you can always find the rhythm in the play, as long as you got Paisley, darling. You got Paisley, darling. With time warped to a Saturday night, I was waiting on a woman just smoking up the moonlight. It was a perfect storm and it brought me to you. Hey. Memories of the years gone by, we gotta ring out the rest of our lives. And you remind me of that very first time I said, do you like Paisley, darling? 'Cause I don't quite know how to dance, and I could see me falling if it's reaching for your hand. Yeah. And all I've ever wanted was a heart that understands that you can always find the rhythm in the play, as long as you got Paisley, darling. You got Paisley, darling. We found found out we got a baby on the way. A little girl, now we thinking about names. We ain't found one that sounds too great just yet. But something grabs a hold of me when she says, do you like paisley, darling? 'Cause it reminds me of that dance, and I could see you falling as she's reaching out her tiny little hands. And all I've ever wanted was a heart that understands that you can always find the rhythm in the play. Yes, you can. I gotta find my way to be a better man now that we've got paisley, darling. Yeah. We got paisley, darling. We're sitting home on a Friday night. I ain't buzzed, but I'm feeling alright. The other side of the room's got a hell of a view. Yeah. Alright.
That was really sweet. I like
Thanks,
that
man.
a lot.
Thanks.
Wow. Yeah, the more I learn about music, the more I branch out and hear other people's music, the more I feel like I am such I don't want to say I'm a noob because I have general knowledge of playing guitar and writing songs, but I have such my own version of things. And when I hear like those songs, the two that you just played, they just feel so professional. I don't,
Thanks, man.
they have the good vibe. I really
I
like
feel
the
the same
vibes.
way about everyone else. Just that's you're not alone in that. I like every time I hear even stuff that I initially don't like. Sometimes I'm like, man, but it's way cooler than me, and like they're better than me. Like, it's just that's self.
Not better. That's not the vibe I'm saying. It's
I've
just
been trying to get rid of that word in general in music speak, and thank you for saying that actually, because it's something that as I've gotten older, I've tried to like even go back to what we were saying before, like, oh, if you like something,
art.
someone else will like it. Like, yeah, it's art. It's like even if your art isn't for me, like I don't listen to all sorts. There's a couple different genres I don't really listen to much, but I still, if I'm in the right environment and they come on, like I do my best to give them my attention and like to try to find something that I don't like. Because a lot of times what I've realized is like, for instance, like I'm not like a big fan of like a lot of heavier metal stuff. But then as
Okay.
I've gotten older, I'm like, actually, I really just don't like screaming vocals. Like if I take
Me
there's
too.
parts, when there's not screaming vocals, I really enjoy that. And if I can then separate that in my head and like, okay, let me turn the vocalist off, even though he's really loud, I can turn it off and like, man, the musicians are really good. And then once I
Yeah.
appreciate them, I kind of can bring him back into the mix and be like, oh, he's doing something really cool for that. Like, I get it. Like, I'm not going to put it on, but like, I get it.
Yeah.
But I
I'm the
think that
same way.
feeling is universal though, for like whenever I listen to somebody else's songs, I'm like, oh, it's professional. It's better than it's different than mine. And it's cooler. I always go to cooler. I'm like, it's cooler than mine. It's hipper. It's more underground, or it's indie, or, whatever. It's more acoustic, or it's more electric, whatever. It's always something.
Yeah.
Silly.
Yeah, it is. I definitely feel that way. But thank you for playing. Thank you for playing some music.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for
Chat seemed to really enjoy it as well, which is awesome.
Thanks,
Some
guys.
people were saying some James Taylor vibes.
Okay, nice.
What else? Lots of flames going on in chat, so that's always a good sign. So
Awesome. Nice.
yeah. I have a few more super chats. First one is from Robo Robert Wiles.
Awesome.
I called him a robot. He says, I hope this makes Betty smile and Dan Francisco smile. Adam, I just mailed off your gifts today. They should hopefully be there Monday. I hope you like them. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Robert. I'm just going to call you Robot Wiles now. I think that's kind of fun. Everyone, only the best people get the nickname. So Robot Wiles continues. He says, I hope this makes you smile. It did. I chuckled. Oh, I hope this makes you LOL. Yes, I did. In fact, you saw it live. I changed my name for chat before the stream. Yes, I noticed that. My niece helped pick some of your gifts. Hope you like them. Crigler Coffee #1. Be blessed. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Robot. You're now Robot.
Roboto.
I'm just gonna call you Robot from now on. Just like Quesadilla, you are now officially Robot. There's only one robot in chat, and that is only one robot allowed in chat, and that is Robert Wiles. David. Oh, we talked about this one earlier about the writing lyrics and stuff. Bobcat said a super chat jump. Hold on. Bobcat says, you can embrace transhumanism or you can fear the risk. I think Jake's taking the right approach of equal parts risk awareness and using the ability. Correct. I was
Nice.
talking to Will Witt yesterday from PragerU on my show about transhumanism and how it's very scary in many ways. We can very easily become the Borg if we're not careful. And that's something I'm worried about because I see how quickly people want to just go along with what the group is doing and fear going against the grain for being ostracized or ridiculed or whatever. But the way Bobcat lays down this, the sad thing about this, I understand what you're doing, and you were saying it kind of contradicts itself because you don't want her to be on phones, but you want there's no changing the trajectory of human beings. We are an internet it's the new hive mind. It's
Yeah.
already here. We are a hive mind, whether or
Well,
not you want to admit it or
like
not.
how good you are at your phone also is currently like tethered to how successful, not successful, it's not the right word, but like in certain industries, like you need to be good at your phone, like having an in-depth understanding of how to either market or create content, whatever field you're in. Like there's all sorts of, even mathematics, like you use your phone
I
for
don't
different
know.
apps. Like
I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. And I seem to be doing
that's
something
the other
right.
approach. That's also a good approach. Like because that was the other one that we were thinking of. Was like I don't see a middle ground that's like a great answer. I feel like it's either we go completely Amish and just
Right.
like churn butter and like, and I'm not opposed to that. Like my wife and I actually we ended up in Clarksville, but we put an offer in on a farm that was down like in an Amish community before this. And like, I mean, we weren't going to go full Amish, but like being around them, like first of all, they're based AF. Like
Yeah, they are.
untouched, like they're unaffected by any of the nonsense that we all deal with.
True.
So
Yeah.
just being around that, I'm like, cool. If everything goes to hell, like I can at least get butter and like, eggs. So that's good.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I think that going full Amish is also a great idea. Like I just didn't personally want to go that way. So I decided to double down the other direction and be like, all right, well, let's just teach her how to use the phone, but not actually use the phone, but how to succeed with it.
Yeah, exactly. Sleep is the cousin of death says sheltering your children creates SJWs. History repeats. I mean, I don't who's sheltering their children? I don't think that's what he's doing at all. I mean, by not letting them have a phone? I mean, part of that isn't serious. I can feel you're a realist. You're gonna let her have
Yeah.
a phone before she's 20. You were making
Eventually,
a joke.
yeah. It's hard to even like. I don't even try to put a number on it now because I don't know what the word phone is going to be. Like 15 years ago, phone meant a landline. Like you know what I
True.
mean. Like what is phone going to be by the time she's 10? I don't know. She's like
Neuralink.
yeah, exactly. Elon's trying to put like phones inside your foot or whatever he's doing like, with his.
He's not the only
shenanigans,
one.
so-
People think
Yeah.
there's a competitor that
Of course.
just
If he
got a
doesn't do
government
it-
contract. Like
Oh, really? Wow.
yeah, there's other people. There's like 3 other companies that are really fighting. Just like
Yeah.
SpaceX was fighting with Blue Origin. Like they have their own, like each of Elon's companies have competitors.
Yeah. I
Except
mean, and that's
Tesla.
like if
Tesla's
it's not
kinda
him, it's
kicking
going to be
everyone's
somebody
ass.
else. And like I was listening to a little bit of your conversation with Will yesterday, actually, and where you guys are, I forget who took which opinion, but like saying like, oh, I don't fully like trust Elon, and I'm fully with you on that. Or if it was Will, and I'm fully with Will on that. Like
I
it's
think
hard
it
to-
was Will, and but I understand. I
Yeah, like-
understand being trust but verify. Like honestly, I don't trust anyone
Yeah.
online.
But you're right.
I
Though, if
don't.
he doesn't
I
do it,
definitely
somebody else
don't
is gonna
trust
do it.
you. No, I'm just kidding.
It's the digital trust. You don't have to be.
Yeah.
But if Elon doesn't do it, like you said, like somebody else is going to, and like, is he? I don't know if he's a good. I don't know him. If he seems fine. I don't think anybody should be able to Neuralink us. Like, but it seems like
Right.
it's going to happen, and I don't seem to have the control over it. Like, unfortunately, I'm not the be all end all of this reality, so I have to kind of succumb to whatever ends up happening. I personally am not going to do a Neuralink. Like that to me doesn't sound like a life that I want to live or be a part
Same.
of. But I can be proven wrong. Maybe in 15 years I'll be like, man, I want to go play virtual tennis against Crigler and drink his
Yeah.
virtual coffee, and so, who knows? I'm gonna come to your virtual roast house and
Yeah.
Who
Just
knows?
just hang out, drink some. That's the freshest coffee in the digital realm.
In the metaverse, yeah, it's
the
silly.
metaverse.
I'm wondering if we're gonna do like performances, like because what we're doing right now, like we could perform if someone was in a headset, they could be at our show at a
True.
place. You know what I mean? Like, what does that look like? And do I want to be a part of it? Do I want to pioneer it? Do I want to create like a Jake space that people come to, or do I want to just stay away from it and just go to the woods and play my acoustic guitar? I don't know.
I feel
You
like
know?
you've made up your mind. You you have. I mean, you're preparing your daughter for the eventual future of being on the internet and
Yeah.
understanding that
I
it
don't think
isn't.
it's going away. I mean, short
It's
of
not.
like
It's not going to.
apocalypse,
A solar flare knocks out all electronics.
Yeah.
Would do. People are like, oh, we'll lose internet. It's like internet is
No.
the last thing you
Yeah.
need to be
A
worried
lot more
about.
than that.
If there's a solar flare knocks out all electronics on the planet, you got to worry about food. You got to worry about raiders,
Yeah.
people stealing what you have, because that's what life was.
Mhm.
And if we lose electronics, suddenly you're on your own, baby. Like the food's gonna run out of food, or the store's gonna run out of food real quick.
Yeah, the
So
internet's not even like a not even like a thing that you're thinking about at that point. I mean,
right.
we're so
Man,
dependent.
I
It's
really
insane.
missed validating myself on social media.
It's funny
I'm
because I think about
sure
this
you do.
sometimes with like if there was a solar if everything were to get wiped out like that, and like I think back to like the Library of Alexandria and like some of these kind of older, um, you know, much older stories, and I wonder if time really is cyclical and if we've already kind of been to this point and then something happens. Because if you were to try to, so let's say that solar flare happened, right, and all electricity was gone, and then you tried to write about what we're doing right now, I think it would sound a lot like some of the biblical and different religious texts that exist, like with dragons and mythical creatures and wizards and stuff like that. I mean, I forget who has that quote, but modern technology is not far from wizardry or whatever. I'm paraphrasing, but
Yeah.
it's true. Like if AOC can take her phone and do some swipes, and then all of a sudden Antifa goes and burns down a building, like that's wizardry. Like she did something she waved her hand, and then some people burned down something like that. I'm not
True.
saying that it's her fault. This is, I just picked a name, but
I want to break down what you just said, though, because that just makes me think Graham Hancock and um, Randall Carlson were very much onto something.
absolutely, yeah.
You know them, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so what if the Library of Alexandria had proof that they're correct, that there was a civilization before the flood or whatever happened 11,600 years ago that may have swept the earth clean, and we had to reset. And that's why Gobekli Tepe taught humans how to farm and agriculture so that they can maintain being able to survive on this planet. If the Library of Alexandria had all that stuff, they would think that it's filled with wizardry and cursed objects that they need to burn down because it talks about stuff that is sacrilege, heretics, because it's wizard stuff. Like, how dare you? Like, we have to burn all this down and get rid of the past. So no wonder we're not finding anything. I mean, the Antikythera device is 2,400 years. You know what this thing is? It's this. It's like an astronomical clock that can accurately depict all eclipses, and it shows the thing of the moon. This was 2,400 years old. It's basically a computer from that long ago. But like, how do we not know about this? Like,
Yeah.
and if this was built, what else was built, and why aren't we finding any more? Probably because they got rid of all that stuff. They probably wanted to get rid of all of history and rewrite it. Well,
Or
what
there
does
could have
that
been
sound?
it could be non-nefarious. It could have just been an extinction event, like like a
True.
something cataclysmic, like an asteroid or something that wipes out civilization, and then you have to try to retell and rebuild. And like if all of a sudden most of the population's wiped out and we're all stuck in caves, like you better believe I'm gonna write on a wall, like, okay, there's a thing called computers. We have to figure out how to reinvent them. So like, let me just write down what I know.
No, food. That's the
Food,
most
yeah.
important thing.
Food
That's
would be
why,
yeah.
I mean, Gobekli Tepe is the oldest monolithic spot on the planet that they've found. And what it does is it's all about teaching agriculture. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe they built that place. Maybe they
that's
were like,
I
we
have
gotta
like
we gotta tell the future generations how to do it. We can't write it on paper. We have to get it into stone so that people can be able to see this forever. So they knew that that's how it would stay around.
What's what a lot of the I grew up mostly not religious, and I'm still I mean, I consider myself a Christian now, but I'm not very knowledgeable because it's something that I've taken on later in life through a pragmatic and logical approach, as opposed to like I wasn't born fortunate enough to have faith. I see some people who have like really strong devout faith, and I'm envious of that in some ways. Although I do see pros and cons in both directions, but on a pragmatic level, one of the things that draws me towards like biblical texts and ancient texts in general is like that's exactly what they focus on, is like the Old Testament. A lot of it's just like, here's how you garden, here's how you build a temple to properly keep your family safe from certain things. Like there's so much pragmatism and logic inside of it that to me looks like, oh, if there was going to be an asteroid, like if an asteroid just took everything out and I needed to write down a bunch of text, like what would be written down? Like, oh, probably this information on how to, rebuild civilization and how to love and to create like a good world, knowing that there's marauders and stuff like that that are going to start, taking place once the cataclysm's over, whatever, asteroid thing is. Once that's finished and we go back to life, like what information will we need? Probably like something like the Bible. Like obviously it's written in thousands of years old language, so it's hard to kind of digest now, but a lot of it's just like a logical instruction booklet to like what to do if there's a giant flood. Like I think that to me, aside from the morals and the ethics that I think are also important, like that's one of the more important takeaways is like, oh, why would somebody write this? There's probably some kind of, even if you take it out of a religious context, like there must have been some kind of cycle that happened where it was like, oh man, hey, every 25,000 years, something hits the earth and you're going to need to start over. So here's some information on how to start over. Maybe that's,
Interesting.
Linking Graham Hancock to the Bible, like some kind of religion based on his theory of, 12,500 or 25,000? I forget with him, but every however often he thinks there's, a catastrophic event that kind of reshapes civilization.
Well, at least that there was 11,600 years ago, something happened that hit the ice sheets in like North Canada,
right?
That basically caused all of the entire planet to kind of change. But one thing I've noticed is what's going on right now. They're trying to change history. They're trying to, I don't know, take all our founding fathers and make them all racist, and change the date of when America was founded, and alter
I wouldn't even say
history.
they're trying; they're succeeding. Like not
Correct.
to us, like to you and
They're
I, but
doing
I mean, we're in the minority. Like most people believe most of that stuff. Like, and not
really.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to gauge because I come from like before
You were living in LA, man.
I was living in LA, and I was like a full on like hardcore leftist progressive like that was my mentality. I fully embraced that. I was fully drinking the Kool-Aid. So I have some people from my life that have that thought process, you know what I mean? Like, that are like fully on the left. And then I have friends on the other side of the spectrum now. So I don't know if I have if my finger's really on the pulse of like what most people think, but I do definitely know that some people do believe that version of history. Like the version that you and I know is false, like that CNN has been pushing for 2 years. Like they believe that. They believe it wholeheartedly. And
That's
a lot
crazy.
of them are like really impactful
That's
people.
crazy.
I mean, the thing
America
with Hollywood is like, those
was
people write
founded
the stories for
in 1776. Period. There, 1619 is based on the fact that was when the first slave was brought over, and it's like there was slaves here already. There were slaves everywhere. There's slaves today that no one seems to care about. It's like
in multiple countries, like that's
in many countries. Yeah, it's like these people, they're screaming, "Don't say gay," because when I don't know if it's Iran or Saudi Arabia, where it's like if you're gay publicly, you get freaking murdered or tossed off a building. Like no one's complaining about those countries. No one's complaining about
not complaining. They're cashing the check from those countries. Like their protests are paid for by those countries.
Well, they're protesting for Disney, who's cashing the checks from those countries, taking out gay scenes from the Eternals,
Chinese government.
Well, for the Middle East, because they're frown upon that stuff, so they won't even show the movies, so they can't sell their movie there. So they're like, all right, we'll cater to you because you kill gay people in your countries, so we'll remove the gay kiss. It's like,
I remember I saw it about I think it was CCP had the Freddie Mercury biopic. They tried to take out a vast majority of the gay stuff. Which I mean, sorry, Freddie Mercury is like that's
Very
a very
famously
big
gay.
part of his. Yeah, like it's it's not the only thing that's important by any means, but it's
No, he
definitely
was an
relevant.
incredible singer, like
Yeah,
absolutely freaking god of singing.
you should definitely not take that out. It's a vital part of this. It's important. Like he's a badass. Like it's awesome. And then to hear that that was taken out, I was like, how do you even take that out of Freddie's story? Like I
Right.
mean,
How?
he's killing it in like white jean shorts. Like it's very clear. Like it's awesome. He's the man. But like
Yeah, he's
to
so
try to hide that part
confidence
is
is
like
just amazing. Anyone who's that confidence, and like you could tell that man had confidence. That's
I really think he's the best that ever lived. I mean, he's unreal.
yeah.
Some of those performances, like
did you like that movie? I thought it was fantastic. I liked it.
I did. Yeah.
I've never got to see him live.
It's strange. I tend to like movies about musicians more than I like those movies. I don't want to say more, but like those movies usually get me more into the band. I had that with Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix. I thought like he did
I haven't
such
seen
a
that
good
one.
job.
I really need to.
Are you a Johnny Cash fan?
I like Johnny Cash. I like his music. I'm not like
I was like
a fan, but I enjoy it.
Still also indifferent, to be honest, but like he it kind of gave me the overall vibe of what made him cool, to the point where I could then appreciate. A lot of times I don't know if this is just me, but like with some of the older music, I have like an issue with the fidelity. Like just it doesn't sound modern, like good. I don't want to good's again subjective, but like the recording quality isn't high enough for me to like really give it the respect that it deserves. I'm better at it now that I'm older, but when I was younger, I would listen to stuff like the Beatles or Johnny Cash, and I was like, it just sounds bad. Now, like I understand, like, oh, well, the reason it sounds bad is because I'm used to like 808s and flawless,
perfect quality.
Yeah, and like
audio
so I can look at it better now. But some of those movies, Walk the Line specifically, like they took some of Johnny's songs and remixed them and like did them with modern equipment. So like it allowed me to appreciate the music better and then go back into his older recordings, and I could actually get into it, as opposed to it kind of like bridged the gap, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Did you see the Jimi Hendrix movie with Andre 3000?
No. What? When did that come out?
God, what is that movie called? It's incredible.
Yeah.
If you like biopics like this,
yeah,
you need to. Man, what is that movie called? IMDb Andre 3000. I know he was the main. He played it.
He's so cool too. All is by my side. Is that it?
He is incredible in this movie.
Okay.
It came out recently. No,
this is 2014. Jimmy, All Is By My Side.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, 2014. That sounds about right. Jimmy, All Is By My Side. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Yeah, I had no idea. I don't know how I missed that. That's right
dude.
up my alley.
That movie is so good. I actually went and saw it 2 days in a row. Wow. I was so impressed by it. And then I went and bought a new guitar after.
Nice.
Afterward, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I did. I went and bought it. I was so inspired by his style because I feel like he does it purely by how it feels.
Yeah.
It got a 5.7 on IMDb. I think that's absolutely wrong. I would have rated it at 7.5.
One of my favorite movies is Cloud Atlas, and it has like I don't know what it has right now, but something. That's
one of your favorite movies.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Have you seen it?
I have. I don't know. I gotta watch it again. I don't think I grasped it at first.
A lot of people didn't like it, as you can tell from the reviews. So maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, I do. I've definitely gotten more out of it each time that I watched it. And I had somebody specifically kind of say to me the first time that I watched it, like, oh, you might want to watch it a couple times because it really comes together. So I think I watched it actually twice in a row when I first watched it. But yeah, I do like a lot of the concepts, especially there's like a lot of different storylines, but one of the ones is like kind of this neo soul, Seoul, like the city in South in Korea. But they show like this version of the future that I think is very relevant to where we're headed now. It's like it's a caste system of like consumer and owner, basically. Sort of like the Black Mirror episode, but like, and yeah, I mean, they get to a point where like the humans are essentially recycled into food, which I know that's an overplayed concept in so many different movies and books over the years, but I thought they tackled it in a good way.
Well, who knows? I mean, IMDb, the future where we're headed.
Exactly. Yeah, there's just a lot of things in that specific storyline that I thought were possible and relevant, which is not good.
Right. Well, this one's definitely worth it, and based on what you're saying, like you'll probably really enjoy it.
Yeah. Stoked.
Let's see here. I got some more super chats. We got a few more. Doobie McNasty says Ultra Maga White Supreme Pizza. Okay.
Wow.
Bobcat says, gonna request Find Yourself as usual. Unfortunately, Bobcat, I'm not feeling well. I do need to finish up. So rain check. Darth Call says, what up, homies? Hey, Call, how you doing, man? Looking forward to Monday. It's one of my co-hosts on Mondays. Bay Staff Monday.
Nice.
Love that show. Ryu says, as someone from Michigan, I must remind Jake that Ohio is beneath us. Don't forget. Also, hi, Adam.
Wow. It's good.
Yeah, Michigan smells. Carol, Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan.
I got robbed there.
I border there. In Michigan? Were you?
Detroit, yeah.
Oh, geez. That sucks. Carol Bruckman for $10.
Hey,
thank you.
I know Carol.
Says thank you. There's a pair that just simply says thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
I know Carol. She's a wonderful person.
Wow, Darth Vader for $50. Darth Vader. Thank you very much. This spin is for you, sir. Everyone else, look away. I don't want anyone looking. This is only for Darth Vader. Close your eyes. It's you too, Jake. Close your eyes. All right. Everyone else, this is only for Darth Vader for his $50 super chat. Spin in the go. Okay. Everyone can open their eyes.
Oh man, I missed it.
You can. That's all right. It wasn't for you.
I was going to try to peek though.
It was for Darth Vader.
Right.
He said, I'd just like to thank everyone in chat who has been encouraging me and sending prayers and thoughts for my wife. Thank you all. This chat and your show mean more to me than anything you could possibly imagine. Thank you, Adam, Robin, and everyone else. Thank you. And I really do hope she is well. It's whenever someone you love is sick, it's all you can think about. So I hope it doesn't last long. I did have COVID, and it hit me like a shit ton of bricks. Just knocked me out. I just was so tired. That's really what it was. I was just tired. And I did lose my smell and all that, but I didn't have any medicine at all. I just brutally made it through. Did you get it at all? I don't know if did you have it?
I assume so. We were deathly ill in February of 2020 in California, which once we got out, learned that was probably a thing. But I'm really grateful because we got it right before it was kind of hyped up. And I think if it would have been a week later, we would have been like right at the beginning of the hype. And I think we would have gone to the hospital and probably been killed by ventilators or whatever that happens to people in the hospital these days. Not to laugh at that,
I don't know if that's actually happened, YouTube. So I disavow that statement. I don't know if that's true or not. He's not suggesting it's true. I'm serious. I have to say this because
no, you should. Yeah. No, I was absolutely kidding.
He was absolutely joking. That is not true.
It's not whatever happened, but we did feel, I am grateful that we had it when we had it, because we would have probably
succumbed
gone a different route.
Gone a different route. There we go. Yeah.
But it was the worst feeling I've ever had. And it felt super, what's the word? Like, I guess non-organic. I don't know. It just felt like someone was like
man-made, artificial.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to say that because
we don't know if it's true or not. Gods. No, I had it, and that's what it felt. It didn't feel normal. It felt like weird,
unlike any sickness. And I've been all sorts of different sicknesses. Like it felt at one point like a toddler was like sitting on my chest. Like
it was
I just
weird.
Couldn't get the breaths out, and my wife was on the bathroom floor. But like I said, it was like we just assumed that it was something, and luckily after it was really bad for one day. Like it was bad up to this one point, and then that one point was super, super bad, and then luckily the next day we were okay. I think I would have probably gone to the hospital the next day.
Yeah. Well, everyone, I just want to let you know, down in the description below, I have Jake's Twitter account, also his YouTube page where he does all his stuff, and then of course there was a link that I think is just like for your family stuff. You have it on your Twitter bio. I have that also in the description below. I checked it out, and it's kind of just really cute pictures of your wife and your daughter and you guys.
Yeah, just like have a little hub for all our different projects and stuff. Keepyoursoul.co.
In the description below, you can find all of those things. And I will be back on Monday for the very first Bay Staff Monday with the new group. Very excited about it. Of course, Flawdzilla is going to be there. Darth Call is going to be there. But we also have Quarter Black Garrett joining, and Andreas Exertus is going to be joining the Bay Staff Monday crew. Very excited about that. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. And Jake, thank you for joining me. It's been
Thanks
a good
for having me.
conversation.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, everybody. I will see you next week. And hope you have a great weekend. See you next time. Good night, everybody.